Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for another episode of Before the Whistle Blows, the Premier League preview show. We've got the regular characters here. We obviously Oscar, Corey, and Locks, and some debutants on the show, specifically just to have a chat about El Sackio, what's been labelled El Sackio. It's Manchester United versus Spurs at the weekend. We've got Henry, Manchester United fan. How are you doing, brother? All right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, good. You're a little bit behind enemy lines on a Leeds United podcast, really, aren't you, or video?
Got to do it every now and then, ain't you?
Yeah, exactly. I know I came on yours before, and it's a bit tough. And we've got Ryan, a Spurs fan. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm all right, mate. Apart from football, everything's going good.
Yeah, apart from football, it's nice. I think it's nice. I don't know how you feel, Corey, obviously being in London. It's nice to see the rest of the bigger teams struggling and teams like yourself absolutely smashing it.
I love it, mate. I can't complain. You know what I mean? Yeah. Last night we'll get into it, man.
I know, right?
I swear, at the minute it's just one good thing after the other. And obviously they talk about the takeover today or an investor. So yeah, mate, I'm smiling on my face, was buzzing last night. Like, football was great, and yeah, you won't hear anything negative out of me tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I couldn't believe it because obviously we got beat by Arsenal soundly in the end due to the second half, and one of my main reasons was like, I'm not bothered anyway because it's the Man City Cup. They win it every year, so who cares? And then West Ham went and beat them.
Not anymore, bro. Man. Not anymore. When Moisey stepped up, he thought, we're not having this. We're not having it. Yeah. Like, trust me, mate, when he got to that second half and he started bringing on Foden and he started bringing on Grealish, I was like, here we go. But fair play to us, mate. We stood firm.
Yeah, fair play. Henry, just a quick question before I ask Oscar and Locks how they're doing. Would you take Moyes back now with the current situation you find yourself in?
I'd take anyone over Solskjaer. I would take Stuart Pearce over Solskjaer. I'd take your assistant over him. Honestly, it's worrying that a club of this size has got Ole as manager.
Is there still fans out there that are Ole in? Because I know me and Corey spoke before, and apparently there was a poll, and there was like 70% of fans were still for Ole. Is that real?
Yeah, and they always come up with the age-old argument of Sir Alex Ferguson got time, so why shouldn't Solskjaer? And that is the most ridiculous argument you'll ever hear because Solskjaer's won next to nothing, and Ferguson was successful at Aberdeen. So,
he won a European Cup, didn't he, at Aberdeen?
Yeah, he did, and he transformed them into a side that was more than capable of competing at the top level, where they didn't belong there. And the comparison it's insulting. It's insulting to Sir Alex and what he did in his legacy. So, but yeah, that's United fans for you, basically.
and the mad thing is as well, Alex Ferguson's one of his biggest supporters, isn't it? I can't lie, as a Leeds fan, it's mad. I did find it weird how he left the stadium obviously when he got beat by Liverpool, and then apparently he's turned up at Carrington and been saying he wants Ole to stay. Is that right?
Suit fitting, according to some briefs.
That's why he left. He had a suit fitting.
So he went to this Carrington thing was weird because at first I was thinking, okay, right, he's gone there to back the manager and say to the players, basically give him a kick up the arse.
Yeah.
And it basically turns out that apparently it was a suit fitting, which it sounds like a media brief to me, which is not surprising considering the state the club are in. But it's all mates rates. It's all back your mate, and it's annoying. It's higher ups as well that are doing it, and it's worrying at a club the size of United.
It is. I mean, for you, not for me. I'm enjoying it, pal. I can't lie. Sir Daddy's come with the super chat early doors saying, come on, you Irons. Obviously, West Ham fan watchers regularly. I was going to say, Corey, you're not going to give him the old X, mate.
Please, I'll tell you who turned up last night. Matey behind me, Mark Nobes, when he stepped up for that penalty and he slotted it right in the roof of the net and he gave it a bit. I was like, mate, exercise those demons. I still think about that United game now, to be honest. Honestly, mate.
Brilliant. Oscar, how are you doing, mate? Obviously, we were up after a point against Wolves because it felt like a win just to the way the game panned out. a lot of fans are back down after Arsenal. I'm not one of them because it's the cup. Man City win it every year. Obviously not now, but how are you feeling ahead of Norwich, mate? Because it could easily be coined as a relegation 6-pointer, and we're only 10 games into the season.
I feel all right, mate, to be honest. I feel all right going into that game. I think we can cause Norwich problems. I think the way we played against Wolves, the first half against Arsenal, if we play like that in the first half against Norwich, I think we'll be okay. I think the thing is with the Norwich game, I'm not even that bothered about the performance. It's just win the game. Even if it's a scrappy 1-0, just get the win. 10 points from the first 10 games. Sounds a lot better than sort of 7 from the first 9 or whatever it is we're on. So just all about getting that win on Saturday. And I think if we get that win, it just calms the place down a little bit. It's 4 points from the last 2 games. We get that, and all of a sudden we're a little bit more stable. So, yeah, the big game against Norwich, but I'm confident, mate. I'm still confident going into that game. I know there's a lot of complaining about the Arsenal game, but it's Arsenal still. I know Arsenal aren't having a great season, but it's still Arsenal away in the cup. We were the better team in the first half.
Unbeaten in 8. They are.
Yeah, exactly. They had £120 million worth of talent in 2 players in Ben White and Pepe. I mean, if Pepe's a £70 million player, then honestly, I'll eat my hat, to be honest. But I mean, how many times did he fall over? But anyway, I mean, it's still got to take it into perspective. They're 2 players, Ben White, Pepe, is worth more than probably the whole squad added together in terms of what we spent on them. So it's a disappointing one, but I thought there was still some positives in there.
Yeah, for sure. And Locks, I've seen you've been having a bit of a Twitter spat today with Oldie Gal trying to tell you that Party's better than Tielemans and.
Oh mate, this
what
guy
else was
honestly. Party over Tielemans, Tomiyasu over Ricardo Pereira. I'm surprised he didn't choose Lacazette over Vardy, mate. Honestly, he's a bit of a joke, isn't he? But yeah, it's been, mate. I can't claim, mate. 5 games unbeaten now in all competitions, so we're turning the season around. Hopefully, we can continue it this weekend. Egal's actually invited me on his channel after the game on Saturday, which is going to be fun because we're going to win. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you watch that.
Yeah, so let's start with Arsenal then, because that's the first game of the weekend. Obviously, there's no Friday night football this weekend. Locks, you're very confident. Why is that, mate? Arsenal have hit some form.
Yeah, I'm always confident against Arsenal, mate. Yeah, I mean, I think look, they've had a bit of form. They started awfully like us, and they've turned it around a little bit. But I think our place on Saturday with Johnny Evans now back in the team, and the new system, well, not the new one because we played it last season, but the system that we're going with at the minute with the 2 wing backs, mate, I think we're more than capable of quite comfortably beating them. Actually, I think maybe my prediction was going to be 2-0. I think Arsenal, a bit like Tottenham at times, Manchester United in recent times. Yeah, they get on one of these good runs and everyone's like, oh, they're turning it around. And then, one poor result puts them, off the rails, mate. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. Maybe Jamie Vardy might be back fit. He picked up a knock in the last game against Brentford. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts. If not, it'll be probably Daka and Iheanacho, which, I mean, you can't complain. That's one thing that we've changed, that we've improved on the squad so much. The squad depth over the summer, like last season when Vardy's out, you're thinking, have we got enough about us to score 1-2 goals? So now with Daka, he's already shown that he can do it. Along with Iheanacho, I think that's a good fit. Maybe if it was a Vardy-Daka striker partnership, I'm not sure how that would work out. But with how Iheanacho's been playing recently, kind of dropping into midfield, I think whether Vardy plays or not, mate, I think we can comfortably beat Arsenal. So. Yeah, it'll be a good game, I think, mate. I'm going 2-0.
2-0. Very, very confident, mate. Ryan, would you go along with everything Locks has said? Obviously, being a Spurs fan, I assume you just agree with every word he's just said.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go for more goals again. I'm gonna go 4-1 Leicester. I'd rather go 4. I think as soon as someone goes at Arsenal, they're not that good. They're a bit battered us, but we're just as bad as they are. So that can't say much. But now I think Leicester, now they've turned the corner, got a bit of form behind them. Obviously, I think I've read today that Vardy's back for the game, but obviously you never know. Daka, I think he'll cause a lot of problems with his pace if he starts. Tielemans, he's on a good run of form at the minute as well. So I think Leicester will be too strong for Arsenal. And like I say, they are just like Tottenham, Arsenal are at the minute. It'll be 2-3 games win, then you drop stupid points, and then you go back to a winning run, then you drop more stupid points. It's just like a yo-yo, both North London clubs at the minute. And what's even worse is that West Ham are above both of us now.
Drink it in, mate. Drink it in.
I just can't cope with it. I can't deal with it, but it's happening, so you can't get used to it, Anna.
Yeah, it's great, mate. Do you know what, right? Corey is such a top bloke. Everyone knows that, but he was so unassuming when he came on. And then as this Moyes revolution has happened, he's just like, drink it in, man. I'll take you all on. It is what it is. It's brilliant to see. We all want a bit of that, man. We all want a bit of that. Can anyone make a case for Arsenal? Does anyone make a case?
Oh, I don't think so, mate, to be honest.
No?
I think they'll give it a good go. I actually think they've improved. Like, I think against Villa, I know Villa have been poor. It's probably the best I've seen Arsenal outside of that Spurs game. And I think even against Leeds, I feel like their pressing's a little bit better. There's kind of an identity rolling. I think Ben White was fantastic the other night. And I actually think in the past couple of games, he's really shown his quality. I just think Leicester will be too strong, if I'm honest. Daka's the one that got away. Leicester seem to have the perfect recruitment plan at the minute. I would have loved him at West Ham, and I think he's a top player, and you can see the progression as well when Vardy gets a little bit older. I know he's really intelligent for a 34-year-old, but when it starts to slow down a bit, the fact that you can bring in a player like that, and Iheanacho is so intelligent with his link-ups too much. And Tielemans, to be honest, I think when they play with that back three and he can get further forward, it's dangerous. Seriously, you forget how good a playmaker he is further forward. So I just think the quality for Leicester is just too much. But Arsenal have shown a little bit of improvement, to be fair to them.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Arsenal get something.
Oh, dear, go on, Oscar, talk to us. Just before you do, mate, I just need to ask you. Just before you do, I need to ask you this from Sean. Sean's asked, are you on the run? The hat's huge.
What's wrong with the hat? Stop kicking off, man. Stop kicking off on me. There's always someone kicking off on me. There's always someone starting on me on the chat. It's anyway. Yeah, I think Arsenal, to be fair, at the back defensively look all right now in terms of Ben White and Gabriel formed a decent partnership. Be interesting to see how they get on against Iheanacho and Vardy, or Iheanacho Daka. Be an interesting little test for them. Obviously, Ramsdale's, I think, surprised us all with what he's done so far. He's been pretty good for them. Tomiyasu's solid, although he's not as good as Ricardo Pereira, which what Igal was been saying. He's not as good as Ricardo Pereira. That is absolute nonsense. That is up there with Igal saying that they're sold out against Leeds when I literally went online and found that there were tickets available. I'm just going to throw that in again.
I did the watch along, Oscar, and people kept commenting saying, I thought it was sold out.
I told you on Monday night I could get tickets for it.
To be fair to Igal, he did think the Emirates had 47,000, so to him it was sold out.
Deary me. But yeah, I think Arsenal will get something. I think it'll be a decent game, to be fair. I'm going to go 1-1, but a pretty good game of football. It would be funnier if Leicester won. I would probably prefer Leicester to win because that's funnier in terms of, obviously, the Locks and Igal rivalry. But to be fair, if Arsenal won, it would be quite funny because Locks has been very confident as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But I prefer Igal, and the Igal meltdown is 10 times more enjoyable than the Locks one.
An Arsenal fan meltdown, they do it like no other.
The Champions League. The Champions League winners every single year in terms of meltdowns. No one competes for them.
I can think of a few, and then there's also the guy who was in the car that time saying, "Get out of my club, Arteta."
Yeah.
Well, that geezer that just screams in his mum's car. What is that all about? I still, to this day, don't get it.
Oh man, it's a madness, in it. They're like no other. They're like no other. Just on Tielemans as well, Locks. Is there any concern? Obviously, I'm assuming he's still not signed his new deal. Is there any concern January possibly, or what? What's the score?
No, mate, I can't see him going in January. Yeah, mate, I mean, there is concern. There is big concern. I think he gets into, don't shoot me, but I think he gets into 95% of teams on the planet, mate. I think he's that good. He's he's a Champions League player, right? He deserves to be playing Champions League. Now, if we don't get Champions League, and I think this might be what he's holding off for, maybe in signing the contract. I think if somehow miraculously we get Champions League this year, which either top 4 or winning the Europa League, I think he signs. I think he signs maybe next summer. But if we don't, I think he's definitely gone. And I think, well, we have to sell him next summer, because if we don't, he's only got a year left, and then he can go from January, can't he? He can sign a contract from January for free. So, yeah, I think that's what it depends on, mate. It depends on whether we get Champions League or not. And if we don't, then, yeah, I think he's off in the summer, and, we'll pull some clubs' pants down. Well, that's the thing with Tielemans, it's different. We probably won't pull a club's pants down, because I think he is worth a very large amount of money. Like, I mean, there's been a figure that's been put out there, 70 million, apparently Leicester value him at. And I think, to be honest with you, with what he offers, and how important he is to Leicester, I think 70 million is a fair valuation for him.
Do you think you can command that, though, if he is planning on running down his deal, though?
I genuinely think that if we get Champions League, he stays, and if we don't, he goes. That's
right.
I believe that is where it's at.
He's going then. So he's going then, is what we're establishing here.
You're not getting Champions League.
We're beating West Ham in the Europa League final, mate.
Why are you coming for me? Like, we've not slapped you the past 3 times that we've played you. Slapped you across the park. I'm sick of it, man. You get a couple of wins and you start coming for me. Don't even go there, mate. Moisey's got Rodgers' number all day long.
Moisey.
But I do think he does enjoy. He loves Leicester. I think the way he comes across, in post-match interviews and other interviews, and also kind of the passion he shows. I think he does enjoy being a Leicester player, and that's why I think he wouldn't leave in January. I think he would give us until the end of the year, and like I said, yeah, probably he's gone next summer. It's very likely that he'll go, and it will be sad. I mean, for me, I think, apart from Jamie Vardy, really, in the last kind of 2 years, he's been our best player. He's been the most influential player. So, it will be a sad day, but he deserves it. And I won't hold a grudge like I do against certain
I was going to
players.
say, this is quite, Oscar, this is mad to hear, isn't it? Because normally, whoever leaves Leicester, Locks cannot stand.
Oh, he can't stand. Mahrez won him a title, and Kante won him a title, and he's having to go at them. I'm thinking he's giving you the most historic moment in your whole club's life, and you don't like the guy.
Never had to go to Kante. Leave him out of it. It's never been him, mate. It's the other wankers. It's fucking Ben Chilwell and Riyad Mahrez, mate. Them two.
Mahrez won him a title. If someone won Leeds United the Premier League title, they could do anything. They could honestly do anything, and I would still love them.
I've already explained this. He came out and he basically blamed Leicester City for apparently ruining 2 years of his career. That's quite a disrespectful thing to come out and say, mate. And he also went on strike. He refused to play for 3 games towards the end, mate. I think that's... He forced a move, and for me, if you force a move out of a club, you're a bit of a dickhead. So yeah.
Yeah, but the club's managed by Club Puel at the time. To be fair to him,
don't matter, mate.
So I don't care.
Mate, you look at other lawyers.
Oh, he's mad. He's mad locks about that.
Look at Jamie Vardy, mate. Man
if he saw Riyad Mahrez in the street, he'd be like, "Oh my God, Riyad, give us an autograph, mate. Give us a picture. Give us a picture."
I've already had a picture with him. And he was a miserable bastard, mate. That's what he was. But yeah,
because he heard what you've been saying about him.
Yeah, like as I was saying, Euro Tielemans. I think that will. There's not a Leicester City, fan at all that will kind of hold a grudge. I think against Tielemans for leaving. I think he's, technically, besides obviously Mahrez, technically probably the one of the best players we've ever had. And like I said, he deserves to be playing Champions League football. If we can't give him that, then I think it's fair enough, mate. He stuck with us. He could have gone this summer. He could have gone. If he pushed for a move this summer, he would have gone, mate. Clubs would have paid the money for him. So I think he's gone next year.
Locks. If he goes to Liverpool in the summer, Are you going down that route of Ben Chilwell, Riyad Mahrez, or are you going
for sure? I was just going to say.
Oh, he will. He will. He says he will.
Because I don't know. Because I think Tielemans, let's play devil's advocate, if he does it with a bit of respect and you don't get Champions League, are you not gonna go, God, I hate Tielemans, can't stand the bloke and dig him out every time you play
Mate,
him?
that's going to stay up there no matter what happens. That picture there, that is staying up on that wall, mate. I love the guy. I love Yuri Tielemans, mate. It's if you can't, you probably can't see it. It's a picture of him holding the FA Cup.
It looks like you.
Locks lifting the FA Cup.
To be fair, though, Locks, I will remember this because the moment he scores against Leicester for Liverpool and kisses the Liverpool badge, you'll be on this show going, gosh, smashing the picture of that in front of us.
He's not that. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And
he wouldn't,
mate. He wouldn't. I swear to you, mate.
You stand in denial, mate. You stand in serious denial right now. He would.
Mate, Tielemans would not do it. Of course, I prefer Tielemans to maybe go to a club abroad because then I don't have to see him playing in the Premier League, see him play against us. But yeah, mate. Honestly, I come back to this in a year or whatever. I will not hold any grudge about Yuri Tielemans leaving next summer. Not at all. Cool. He deserves it.
Right. Let's get some score predictions from everyone. I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester as well. Henry, score prediction for this one?
4-3 Leicester.
Ooh, that'll be a good game. That'll be a lovely game to kick us off. Locks has given us 2-0. Corey?
2-1 Leicester.
2-1. And Ryan, what was yours, sorry?
4-1 Leicester.
4-1 Leicester. Oscar, you said one apiece?
1-1, yeah.
1-1. There you go. Right, this we've got Burnley Brentford. Let's get some score predictions. Let's not even go there. I feel like Thomas Frank, as the bubble burst a little bit and Brentford starting to do what Oscar always said they would do and taper off a little bit, mate. What do you reckon, Oscar?
Well, they've got David Raya out for 5 months by the looks of things. That's a big injury, that. I mean, as good as Brentford have been, they've needed him big time in some games. I remember that first game of the season against Arsenal. They were good in that game, but Raya still had to make some big saves in it. Big goalkeeper for them. Be interesting to see how that back three reacts to having maybe I think it's Fernandez who goes in goal from the Spanish Division 2. So, again, how good's he? We don't know. How will Pontus react to that? Pinnock, these defenders, how will they react to having someone like that behind them, that little bit less experienced? But I still think Brentford win this game. I think this one probably is one where this is probably one of the few games for Brentford where they've got more technical quality than the opposition, where they can actually play a team off the pitch. I think Brentford have got more technically about them than Burnley. So I'll back him and go 2-1 Brentford.
More technical ability than
you
Burnley,
leave Maxwell Cornet alone, mate.
He's a good player. He's a good player, by the way. 2-1.
Do you think we should have signed him over Firpo, Oscar?
What, different players though? Cornet's playing on the wings for them.
We were looking at Cornet as a left back.
Yeah, I know.
Playing as a left back.
Well, it's a hard one to say because Cornet's not played left back at all for Burnley, so I don't know how good a left back he is. He looks good going forward, I'll tell you that much. But I think, I don't know. I don't know how good he is defensively, but again, he's had a bigger impact than Firpo so far. I can't deny that, sure. But he'll probably score in this one 2-1 to the Bees.
2-1 to the Bees. Go on, Billy the Bee. Right, it's Corey. Give me a score prediction for this one.
Gonna go 1-0 Brentford. I think they nick it. I don't think Burnley have got enough, unfortunately, for them. I think that back three's solid enough, even with a dodgy keeper. So yeah, I'm gonna go Brentford.
Yeah, hopefully Burnley's time to go. And then we'll be safe because I'm a little bit worried about where we're at currently. I'm just thinking about teams that could go down. Ryan, score prediction, mate?
2-1 Brentford for me. Burnley will go down this year.
You reckon it's their time?
Yeah, they'll go down this year. Yeah, definitely.
I hope so. And then someone will take Maxwell Cornet, won't he? Unless he plies his trade in the Championship. I'm not too sure. I've got a sneaky suspicion as well. The likes of Newcastle might go in for Tarkowski, might go in for Dwight McNeil and maybe try take them from them possibly. I don't know. They might be weaker after January.
Pope as well. Nick Pope.
What's that?
Nick Pope as well. I think will be hot property.
He's been awful this year. He's been awful this year.
Yeah.
But one-off season, I guess.
Yeah. They can then get Bailey Peacock-Farrell back from Chef Wednesday and give him a try. Henry gives a score prediction for this one, mate.
1-0. I think I think I like Cornet a lot. I've watched him a lot of Lyon. He's very strong defensively, actually.
Did you see him as a left back then?
Yeah, and
how did he get on?
Left back and wing back as well. He depended what Lyon were doing. If they were playing a top side like PSG, or if they're Lille last year were fantastic, so they switched to a back five sometimes. Really good player. Obviously, his delivery is incredible into the box, but defensively, he's not the best physically, but he's dogged and determined, and I think that kind of overrides it a little bit. And I watched a bit of Fernandez at Huesca last year, who a good keeper, smart signing, I'd say. Yeah, smart signing. Might struggle a little bit with the high balls in, which is why I think they'll concede. But again, young keeper, and if he does well, he's got a good career ahead of him. So
there you go. See, that's why we brought you on for knowledge like that. You see, I didn't know you had it, but now I know you do. So that's why I brought you. Fair play, mate. Locks, score prediction.
Yeah, I mean we beat them, but they look really good. Brentford, so I'm going to go for a 2-0.
I'm going to back Burnley 1-0. Chris Wood against this keeper, because he said he's rubbish in air, so they're going to get it from a set piece. So
that'd be horrible, that though. For Leeds,
for us especially.
If they get that first win just before we play Norwich, that'd be quite. That would be quite. That would be quite horrible.
How has it come to this, Oscar, that we're getting worried about like what Burnley's result's going to be on the Saturday before we play on the Sunday?
Yeah, but
it's just not good, man.
Burnley always find a way. Absolutely no one wants Burnley to stay up. I'm not even sure half the Burnley fans want Burnley to stay up. It's just that. They're such a dislikable team.
I've met Sean Dyche. He's a really nice guy. He's terrifying, but he's really nice. Yeah.
I'm sure he's nice, but I don't know. People just have a thing against Burnley, don't they?
I think it's
ball, isn't it?
I don't mind them.
They play one way. They play one way though, don't they? And but it's effective. And he said this to us when we did this guest lecture thing at uni. He said, we don't particularly like playing this football, but it's effective and it wins games. So you can't really complain. I can't complain that much apart from when they play United, then I get a bit annoyed because it's hero ball and it works. It's really frustrating, but they're a strong side, I think.
Do you think they'll stay up then this time?
They find a way somehow. They always find a way to get out of it, and it's whether they switch up the play, because sometimes they play one up top a little bit stronger and one less so, but they might play two more physical players. I don't know. And I think with the addition of Cornet, the balls into the box with McNeil are only going to get better. So I think they always have a slow start to the season, every single season. Not quite as bad as this, but I remember they went on a run till like January a couple of seasons ago and hadn't got a win or something ridiculous like that. And then they just started picking up points, and they're one of those sides that can beat anybody just because they're so dogged and determined.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's stay with you, Henry, and I'm gonna do you dirty here because the next one's Liverpool Brighton. So how many goals do you think Mo Salah's gonna get in this one, pal?
Oh, really? Oh God, I don't know. Brighton are a weird team, aren't they? They're so weird. Yeah. They can show up, and Graham Potter's a good tactical manager. You can see it just from the way he sets up the teams. The Bissouma problem could be an issue for them. I won't go into detail, obviously, because we don't know the details of what's happened. But if he starts or not, I think that's going to be a massive factor in how that game goes, because he can be so frustrating for to play against. He's so annoying, but he's so good. So
I couldn't believe it.
For a couple. What do you mean? Sorry.
Last night, I couldn't believe it. He was playing last night, mate, against Leicester. When I saw him,
I think
on the pitch.
It's weird. What stands out to me with these kind of things is if they wouldn't play him at all, then we think, okay, there's definitely something wrong. But if they're playing him, someone behind the scenes knows that it's okay to play him. So maybe it's been.
This is football, though, innit?
Yeah,
this is football, man. There are no morals in football. It would be really bad if I didn't know he had played last night. Did not know.
On that point, though, you look at someone that played for City for God knows how long. Do you know what I mean? So he was
on bail for stuff like that, wasn't he, as well? So they knew.
I think it comes down to the club, though, which is the weirdest thing for me. Brighton, I don't know whether you guys think this, but Brighton have always stood out to me as a club with integrity. You know, they've had higher ups like Dan Ashworth, who's been involved with the FA, and you know, Graham Potter seems like a really, again, a nice guy. He's got a degree, and he's in like psychology and stuff, and he stands out as a really knowledgeable guy. So it would be almost shocking if it did turn out as bad as it seemed on that night, and it would be awful for the club. Honestly, it'd be awful. So, I don't know. How do you judge this situation? How do you judge the situations like this?
Yeah, nah. Minefield. Stay away. Stop talking about it. That's always been. But Liverpool, mate, Salah, inevitable at the minute.
Yeah.
You know, I know they didn't have a hard task
Inevitable.
on the weekend, did they, really? Let's be honest. But he's a little bit inevitable at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll probably score. He's I think he's the best player in the world right now, and it's painful to say that, but I think he is the best player in the world right now, just because the numbers, the contributions, how good he really is for that side, and he works so hard as well for a player that is that good, and he's just going to keep scoring. He's probably going to get top scorer because Harry Kane has been interesting this year. I'll say interesting can go one of two ways. But yeah, he'll just keep scoring and scoring and scoring, and don't like seeing it, but harsh reality.
It is. Locks, I thought you were going to pipe up with, don't forget about Vardy, because I know you
love that. Can't talk about anyone else, can we? Do you know what I mean? Don't talk about Mikel Antonio.
Mate, don't forget about Vardy, mate.
Don't forget about Vardy.
Ben White will pocket him, no problem at all.
Oh, fuck off, Oscar.
Last week, the City game, I went for a tight one because I thought Brighton would really give them a game. Because like Henry's just said, I do really rate Graham Potter, especially, tactically, he knows how to set up against certain teams. Obviously, they got a result against City last year as well. So I was quite shocked at the actual scoreline and the rate in which the goals went in initially. Ryan, do you expect a similar sort of scoreline in this one between Liverpool and Brighton, or will it be tighter?
No, I think Liverpool will do better than City will. I think City switched off second half. I think they thought the game was done, allowed Brighton to play the football they can. But I think Brighton struggling like last season. I don't think they still haven't solved that goal scoring. Obviously, they've got more pay up front, but he's a shit ass, and he just spends 90 minutes winding up the defenders. He's not really the strike you want. But the way Liverpool are playing at the minute, obviously, I think Salah's trying to get this golden boot done before he goes off to the Aston Nations. Yeah, he wants to get that sewed up before he's gone. So Liverpool are going to be too strong for him at the minute. Brighton, like I said, they do play brilliant football. Brighton do. I'd love Graham Potter to come into Tottenham over Nuno any day. He's a much better manager, and he does have Brighton playing some beautiful, like when they obviously second half against City, they dominated that second half, and if they had a striker or just someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, then they could have got back in that and gave City a real scare. But Liverpool, Van Dijk now fully fit, and Salah, the way he's playing, even someone just like Jordan Henderson in midfield, he's just different this season at the minute for Liverpool. So I see it being a lot easier for Liverpool than City.
Yeah, it's a mad one, Graham Potter, because I do think he will leave Brighton soon. It just depends on who to. I think give him the tools, like you say, give him better players. Even if Brighton had I know it's mad because he won't fit, but like Glenn Murray, for example, just used to get goals and goals and goals. If they had just someone who knew where the back of the net was, as opposed to a Welbeck or a Morphy or whatever, do you know what I mean?
Don't laugh, but they do look better with Welbeck in their team. Like they do. Like he just stretches play a little bit more. He's a good finisher when he's fit. I think you touched on it, the Mopé thing. He just doesn't do enough as a striker. I think he holds the ball up well and he can link play. But a lot of times when I watch Brighton play, they're trying to create the perfect chance. At times you just need to stretch and get your shot off. And they were doing it earlier in the season. And now all of a sudden it seems to have died down a bit. I think Graham Potter's a massive shout for Newcastle, by the way. You're looking for someone to come in and coach the current group of players with some decent talent there and build long term. He's perfect for them. Absolutely perfect. He's a top manager.
it's whether he'll accept it, I guess, isn't it? Whether they'll say to him, you're here for like 3 or 4 years max, and then we're going to bring in a big hitter. I don't know. I think he comes across as such a nice guy, and I kind of want him to stay at Brighton just because I want to see if they get a striker, they could seriously do something. They could seriously do something with that side, and not quite pushing Europe, but they're a side that are exciting to watch, and I think Newcastle could just spoil the party completely with everyone, just nick everyone's players.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it is mad with Newcastle. Like you say, someone's knowingly going into that job while it's in transition, and surely, unless they do make an absolute, a beaut of it, and they manage to take them over, but you do feel they are going to get to a point where they're like, right, we now need to go that next level, like City did and others before, So it is a bit of a, not poison chalice, that's a wrong word, but just seem a little bit of a mad one for someone like Potter to take that, like you say, because he might only be there for a couple of seasons, so it'd be interesting. But let's get some score predictions. I'm gonna go 3-0 Liverpool. Henry?
I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool, and I'm going to say it's going to be a last-minute thing because I think Brighton are going to be a little bit more stubborn than I thought anyway. But
could definitely happen. Oscar?
Yeah, I think Brighton without Bazuma are nowhere near as strong. I think you can easily get through the middle of the pitch against them going forward. I'll go 3-0 Liverpool. Fairly comfortable one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Oscar, mate. 3-0 Liverpool.
Cool. Corey?
3-0 Liverpool.
And Ryan?
4-0 Liverpool and another Salah hat-trick.
Yeah, be good, won't it? I think we'll all have him captained this weekend anyway, that's for sure. I know. I've already sorted mine out earlier. That's the only reason I knew Raya was out for 5 months, because I was like, why has he got a red triangle next to him? What's gone off there? Right, let's do Man City Palace. I keep saying this because I know Palace, rightly so, are getting a lot of plaudits. And it's probably my agenda I had against Patrick Vieira before the start of the season, saying he was going to be the first manager sacked. But they still only have one win on the board. They still are not winning games. Drew last week against Newcastle, 1 apiece. Oscar, do we see that being an issue, or do you think that eventually they will start turning them into 3 points?
I think eventually they will. You look at the forwards players they've got now, obviously Zaha, Edouard, Eze to come back in, Elise. There's all sorts of forward players. Gallagher even obviously chipping in with goals and assists and that lot as well. I had to put him in. I had to include him in there. Yeah. Defensively, they look all right, and performances have been good too. But obviously, you've got to turn it into wins. But I think eventually they will. I'm not sure what the reason is really, but I think I did see somewhere that in terms of the most difficult run of fixtures out of the 20 teams, Palace by far have played the teams highest in the table so far this season. I think the lowest they've played is something like 11th, and they've played pretty much all the top 6 and 7 early doors. So it's a factor. In fact, I think the lowest team that played before Newcastle was 11th. Obviously, the Newcastle result, that's a shocking result really for Palace. They should be winning that game. But I think they'll be okay, but it won't start this weekend. I think City have got far too much at this moment in time. It depends really, but they'd have to do something special, Palace, to get something from that. But the thing with City is, as I've always said about them this season, they either really struggle to score a goal in a game, or they score 5 or 6 in one game. They're really, really strange team. They can produce the first half like Brighton, or they can get frustrated like they did yesterday against West Ham or against Southampton a few weeks ago. Bit of a strange team, City, but they're still easily top 2 in the league for me, City. But I'll back 3-1 in this one.
3-1. Corey, the disabled team supporter of the channel, got their own YouTube channel. Make sure you check them out, guys. Always on here, so a big shout out to them guys. Said City will be hurting. Do you think there's a case of that, Corey? Could they come back and put Palace to the sword, knowing that they were not? Was it 5 years they've been unbeaten in that trophy? So surely it is going to stink. Someone said to me on Twitter, as though they're even bothered, and I was like, they will be. They're winners. Players want to win. Pep wants to win. There's a reason they won it as much as they did,
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the game, I think it'll be a little bit tighter than what people think. I'm one of them people that's been impressed with Palace. I do think it will eventually click. Their pressing's fantastic. The fact that he's gone in there and changed their style so quickly, I think he can pose slight problems to Man City. Yeah, they'll be hurting. I don't know. It was one of them games where, I don't know if you saw the post-match, but Pep kind of bigged up David Moyes and West Ham, and it did feel like we done fantastically well and we just edged it on the pens and that was it. So I think City have got bigger and better things. I know they win it every year, but they've got bigger and better things to go on to. The league this year is going to be so tight. If anything, I think we'll go 2-1. We'll go 2-1 Man City for me. I think Palace get a goal, but we'll see, mate. Beating City is not for everyone, as we all know.
In 90 minutes, mate, chill out.
Yeah,
you only won on pens.
Didn't you get knocked out the other night by Arteta?
Yeah, but we did with 10 men, mate.
It's fair.
Oh, yeah, of course you did. I knew that was going to come up. Fair play.
Yeah.
We did.
He had. Oh, yeah.
We can't talk now, though. We can't really talk because mate, I'm shitting myself and we're playing Norwich. Do you know what I mean? So I need to be fair, because I am proper cacking myself for the weekend.
You'll be fine, mate, honestly.
I know. I've even been like doing a bit of research, listening to Norwich stuff and that, and even they're like, we're going to get battered, and I'm like, oh, nah, you're not. Do you know what I mean? Right. Does anyone make a case for Palace?
No.
Against City away? Nah. Does anyone go along with my thing that Palace could still be in trouble, or do we think they're just playing too well and will be all right over the course of the season?
They start scoring. They start scoring, and they need to start scoring and soon, because I know they've got Edouard and they've got the players all to come back and stuff, but it's a little bit of a concern. It's got to be a concern for them, because drawing too many games. I mean, the Arsenal game, they shouldn't have drawn that. They were all over Arsenal for God knows how long, and if they don't start converting chances, again, you've seen it with Brighton a little bit last year. Can't convert chances, and they look in danger. So they've got to start putting them away. I still think City will thump them, absolutely thump them, because Palace play pressing football. Pressing football against City, we saw what they did to Liverpool. If they press against City, they're done for. So, but again, Palace are a nice team, and I hope they do well. Vieira didn't do well at Nice, to be fair. That's probably where you got the sacking thing.
Yeah, I was convinced he was going to just crash and burn, to be honest, mate. Because I had shades of De Boer as well. I had that in my mind as well, and they tried to switch it all up before, and it went to pot, didn't it?
Nice is a toxic club, though. My God.
Right.
So I can understand why he fell out with the higher ups, and I can understand why, because it's obviously just a billionaire just pumping money in, and it doesn't always go well with those kind of things. But I think he'll do well. I think he'll do all right. They'll definitely be mid-table.
Yeah, mid-table. Because they're like 15th now. And I'm if we beat Norwich, and I think we all think they'll get beat at the weekend, we've got a point more than them. And it's mad, really, when you consider the glowing, like people have been speaking about them so glowingly. And I understand it. It's just, it's not converting to
who have they played?
Points.
They'll have played Chelsea, City, and Arsenal, haven't they? So, I mean, that's tough in its own right.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, for sure. The one team they did beat was Spurs, and it was quite comfortably, weren't it, Ryan?
Who hasn't? It's quite comfortable.
Nuno ball, man.
Yeah, join the queue. Just join the queue.
Brilliant. Right, let's get some score predictions. I'm going to go for 4. I think City will come out after losing midweek, etc. 4-0 locks.
I'm going to go for a bit more of a closer one. I'm actually going to go 1-0 City. Yeah, 1-0
Nice.
City.
Nice. Corey?
2-1 City.
2-1. Henry?
5-1 City.
Boom. Love that. Get that goal difference for when they're in a relegation fight. I'm telling you heard it here first. Ryan?
3-1 City.
3-1. Oscar?
3-1 Foden will be the difference again. I think just before we move on from City, there's a genuine case for Phil Foden being just behind. I think Salah's the best by an absolute mile, but Foden's in the conversation for me in terms of the next best after that for me at this moment in time.
Do we agree with that, guys?
Not Bernardo Silva. No.
But yeah, it's got to be. Well, you didn't have him in your thingy team, and you
No,
can't
like,
just put
we've-
Bernardo
Oscar-
Silva in there.
Oscar,
You were saying Paul
we moved-
Pogba weeks
Bro,
ago,
we've
mate.
got an
You
international
can't
break
do that
coming up.
flip-flop.
We've got an international
Yeah,
break
we'll
coming
be
up.
doing
on the
another.
12th. Whack
We'll be
him
doing
straight
another.
in the number 8.
Mate,
no
He's
problem.
first in there.
Yeah.
He's first in there. Oh, I'm not coming on. I'm not coming on that video.
Mate,
We
Oscar's
put
gonna
Paul
be.
Pogba in ahead of him, didn't we? We put Paul Pogba because of his assists.
Fair.
Mate, I reckon 6-7 months time, Oscar's still going to be coming back to that team. I think.
Yeah.
He just brings it up every
100%.
fucking week.
Brilliant. Right. Not Newcastle, Chelsea up next. Chelsea obviously battered Norwich last week, 7-0. But I need to be careful saying this, but it is just Norwich. So, do you know what I mean? Do we know Lukaku, Werner still out for this one?
Lukaku, yeah. Lukaku
Werner
definitely.
back?
Yeah. I don't know about
Werner.
Burnley.
It doesn't really matter anyway, does it?
Yeah.
He didn't score, does he? He didn't score really, to be fair. Does anyone, like Newcastle, obviously, they get a point. Graham Jones, first game in charge. Does anyone give him any hope at home against Chelsea, or are we all backing Chelsea in this one?
I give him a chance.
Yeah?
I don't think they will get anything, but I think St. Maximan against their man marking is going to cause a couple of problems. You know, Chelsea going with the back three do tend to push the back three quite high up the pitch, could cause a few problems. But yeah, I still think Chelsea. But I think the Norwich game doesn't fool me about Chelsea. They still struggle to score goals. I mean, you see the goals Norwich gave away in that game. You know, I still think Chelsea will slip out that title race. I think they'll be third. I still think it's going to be a 2-horse race. I genuinely don't think they're that good, Chelsea. I just think they just find a way. But I don't think they can batter teams the way Liverpool or Man City can on a regular basis. And when you've got people like, when you're relying on the likes of Jorginho and Rudiger, who, to be fair, they can have moments of good form.
I will not have Rudiger slander on here. He's absolutely unbelievable.
He has been very, very good, but over
Very
38
good. He's
games,
been one of the best centre-backs in the league. He's so underrated, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's in the back three.
Yeah, but
he's in the perfect conditions.
Rudiger like he's nothing.
Yeah, but he's got moments in him. He can make mistakes. He's not Van Dijk. He's not a Ruben Diaz for me. I think he's got moments in him, but they are relying on.
You're going full Paul Scholes here, about to tell me Maguire and Lindelof are better than Chelsea's defence.
I'm not saying that. I'm not
defend, apparently.
But it's not sustainable relying on Rudiger, Jorginho, and that lot to keep clean. Keep control of games.
They've been without Kante. They've been without Kante on this run as well. They've been.
Yeah, but is that solving their goal scoring problem though?
I think that's what makes them more dangerous. The fact that they can do the 1-0s and stuff. I think that makes them more dangerous. And they obviously
not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Anfield with 10 men coming out of that place with a point. These guys.
Yeah, but they tried that against City, and City played through them. City could have battered them 3 or 4. Now they're going to have to change. At some point, Chelsea will have to open up. If Chelsea fall behind Liverpool and City in the table, they'll have to open up, play more on the front foot, maybe with a back 4, and that's when I think Rudiger and that lot. Maybe it might be a little bit less certain. I'm confident. If you had to give me one team, predict where they're going to finish in the table, I'm 100% Chelsea are finishing third. I just don't. That would be, if you had to put your house on one of them, that's the one to put the house on. Chelsea to finish third for me.
I do agree, and I didn't at the start of the season, because when Chelsea brought Lukaku in and he was scoring goals, I know he's out at the minute, but I was like, they're my favourites. Because City didn't get Kane, etc. But the way that the season's developed, I do think you're right in that come the end of the season, it will be a 2-way shootout between Liverpool and City. I do think Chelsea might drop off. I do agree with you there. Does anyone else? Or do we
Dylan is spot on here. Dylan, Norwich bottom is spot on, actually. I will change that. I will retract that statement. Norwich bottom first, and then Chelsea third. But
you finished?
I think I'm more.
I'm just waiting for more Rudiger slander.
Go on, Henry.
They're terrible to watch. Come on, guys. They're terrible to watch, Chelsea. Don't want them winning the table.
I don't look at that. I get that you probably don't want a side that plays that kind of football winning it, but it's effective. And at the end of the day, they won the Champions League with it, and it wins them games. And I think take out the aesthetic side of things, and they're not great to watch, but my word, are they effective at what they do? And they've got the depth in that squad is incredible.
Yeah,
they can pull out wing back after wing back, and they still have 10 left. Yeah. So their depth is ridiculous. They built, they can have Havertz up front when they're missing Lukaku and Werner. But
Havertz only turns up once every 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think they've got goals everywhere. They score from set pieces, they score from crosses, they score from the edge of the box. They've got Kante still to come back when he's fully fit. That's going to be a little bit of a problem for sides, and the depth, the quality and depth is ridiculous. They're bringing Ross Barkley on in the Norwich game. I haven't seen him for God knows how many months, and he's a decent level Premier League player, and he's barely even in the squad. That's how good they are. I think they're underrated personally.
I think Emery's switching allegiances here with that. It sounds like he's going to be putting on a blue shirt next week. I'm joking, man. Ross Barkley's been linked with Leeds United, and I'm like, nah, stay away from that. Stay away from that. Not for me. I'd take Loftus-Cheek. I know you said you'd like Barkley.
Barkley's better than Loftus-Cheek.
Nah, I'd take Loftus-Cheek.
Absolutely ridiculous. No way. He's not better than Loftus-Cheek. He's not.
Yeah, he is. No, what's Loftus-Cheek done? Most overhyped player in the league.
Do you watch Loftus-Cheek? Yeah, okay, his injury record's poor, but as a
player,
like
this Chelsea team. I'm sorry, I just can't warm to him. I can't warm to the idea of Jorginho being up for a Ballon d'Or because he can pass a ball sideways 5 yards. I can't. Any system that's making Jorginho look good, is anti-football. It's absolutely terrible to watch.
He won the Champions League and the Euros. He can't be that bad, and he's in the squad every starting 11. He can't be that bad.
He's a decent player. He's decent player.
He's all right.
But he's not a Ballon d'Or candidate. Come on.
No. He's good. He's not Ballon d'Or.
That's fair. Ryan, you've been quiet there, mate. Talk to us about Chelsea, bro. Fan?
No, I can't deal with all this London hype, and then we're just sat there. The problem is, I think they'll finish second behind City. I think Liverpool. Really? I think Liverpool will come third. I think the AFCON, losing Salah and Mane, I think that will really put them back. So I do think Chelsea will get second, but we're just miles behind them. We're just miles behind them. And the worst thing is they've got a chairman who will, if they don't finish top this season, then he'll go out in the summer and pump another 150, 200 million into that squad to make sure that they win it. Or they'll go win the Champions League, or if they're in the Europa League, they'll go win the Europa League, or they'll make an FA Cup final. I'm just sick of it now. I'm sick of it. I've had enough of it now with Chelsea, and obviously Arsenal still win the RFA Cup, and West Ham have come up now, and they're getting the takeover. Obviously, the Czech billionaires coming into their club. I think I'm just going to have to change.
I'm loving it, mate. Long may it continue, that's for sure.
I'm going to have to change sports.
Brilliant.
Levy, what an operator. What an operator, Gary Neville called him. What an amazing football operator. He managed to single-handedly turn a whole fan base against you. Brilliant.
No, I can't get involved in Levy because we'll be here to.
Yeah, I was going to start asking you about Harry Kane then as well, and we've done that. Bloody hell, we had like about 2 hours on it once with Elena, I think.
I'll never forget it, mate. I'll never forget it, honestly.
It was so funny the other week when just to share, like, she was doing the spaces on Twitter, and I just popped in and I went, the disrespect for Harry Kane is disgraceful. And then she went, rah! I just sat there and listened to this whole kick.
You can't. You just got to wind her up, ain't you, and just let her go. That's it. Just literally wind the back of her up and just go.
Yeah, she goes, man. It's brilliant. Right, let's get some score predictions. I'm reckoning back to the Chelsea. No 7-0s. I think it'll be like the regular. Don't score many. I'm going to go 2-0 to Chelsea in this one. Henry?
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Oscar.
Unfortunately, Chelsea will win this. It'll be a typical Rudiger from a set piece or something. Whole place will be, just absolute silence. Everyone's falling asleep. Typical Chelsea, 1-0.
1-0, yeah. Ryan?
2-0 Chelsea.
Corey?
3-1 Chelsea.
3-1 and Locks.
2-0. 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0. Right, we've got Watford, Southampton. We don't need... actually, let's just talk about Ranieri for a second. Obviously, they get absolutely hammered by Liverpool. They come back and then absolutely pepper Everton 5-2. Oscar, I want to come to you because I know you're close and you have a lot of Everton supporting friends. How's that gone down, mate? Are they... Because I guess, like I say, my partner's daughter's dad is an Everton fan, and we speak, and they won't call him Rafa. They call him Mr. Benitez. I don't know if that's the same with you, mates. They don't want Rafa the Gaffer because of the whole Liverpool link, so it's Mr. Benitez. Do you think there's a case that could quickly turn if results... I don't expect this to happen regularly, but it was a mad result, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the one thing you associate with a Benitez team is to be solid at the back. You don't see a Rafa Benitez team concede a lot at home, never mind 5 times against, let's be honest, that Watford team when they played against us, I think we could have played till Christmas and they wouldn't have scored in that game.
Yeah.
And that's against us. We've not been great at the back this season. But I think it could easily turn. I think it threatened to turn when they got beat, I think it was 5-6 weeks ago to Villa, 3-0. There's a little bit of rumblings there. I think the big thing Benitez has done is obviously with James Rodriguez, obviously letting him go for free. I think he's gone to Saudi Arabia. I think he was quite popular amongst the Everton fan base. He was quite an exciting player to have in the squad. And that's a big risk to take. I think obviously I can see why he's done it, to give the team more solidity through the middle of the pitch. But if he's still conceding goals and not creating much, it's going to cause a problem. But I think the thing is, I think most Everton fans are still behind him. But I think a large proportion of them will never truly be fully appreciative of him unless he wins a cup or if he gets them in the top 6 or something like that. I mean, he's got to achieve something tangible first at the end of the season to get that full respect. But it is possible, in terms of when we're talking about managers to get sacked, when you get beat 5-2 to Watford, there's a lot of pressure then next couple of games. And obviously, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for Everton. But I think obviously I've joked with Locks about Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, but you've got to remember they've been very, very reliant on their goals so far this season. Is it sustainable that Andros Townsend is going to score 1 and 2 for the whole season, or Damari Gray is going to do that? Probably not. They're probably both going to have a slight drop off at some point in the season. Obviously, they've got Calvert-Lewin out, but again, it's another team where I look at and think, there could be potential for a bad run of form at some point. I think the fullbacks, Coleman, Digne, I don't think Everton fans like him particularly defensively. I think a lot of teams can get at Everton in that respect. But I think for Benitez, if he loses the next 2 or 3, I think it could easily soon turn for him, to be fair. But I think it's one of them. It's a bit like, sounds bad this, but it's a bit like Leeds fans with Cooper on Tuesday. They're almost waiting for that mistake and then they can pounce kind of thing, if that makes sense. There's going to be a proportion of that in the Everton fan base that I'm not going to say they were happy to lose 5-2, but it's an opportunity to have a go at Rafa and say, he's Liverpool and this lot. The big one for Benitez is that Merseyside derby. If they go 1 down in that derby, Liverpool fans are going to start singing Rafa Benitez songs. That is where it's going to really, really be testing for Benitez. And I think if you gave Benitez a bit like FIFA, he can just sim a game, he'd be simming both those Liverpool games, to be honest, because I can tell you, he will not be looking forward to that. It was worst nightmare that Liverpool fans start singing the game.
Do you know, I bet Rafa's gutted that he took the Everton job, knowing what's happened at Newcastle now, because he'd have walked straight in there. Absolutely gutted. Maybe that would affect, I'm sure of it, he's probably thinking, oh man, they love me. They've got all this cash. I know I would. I know I'd be on the phone to Staveley and say, get me out of Liverpool. Can't stand these Blues anyway. I'll come back to them. Do you know what I mean? No, and Liverpool, his stock could go even higher with Liverpool fans.
Do you not think there's a little bit of Rafa where he thinks, I almost want to do well at Everton to kind of show that I can do it? Like, they all hate me, and I reckon I can. I know, I completely agree with you. If someone offered me that money and he could go back to where he's adored, of course you'd go. But there's something about Rafa where I feel that he wants to prove a point. Everton are, unfortunately, at the minute, the injuries that they've got. I know Richarlison came back the other day, but no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, no Decore. They are so important to the way that they play. And when you watch that 20 minutes against Watford, I can't even really describe it. I'm not even quite sure what it is. It's so uncharacteristic for a Benitez side. They just got to be patient. I think he is the right man. I think he'll just stabilise them a little bit. We know they've had problems in terms of investment. I know Everton have got a fair bit of money. They just can't spend it. But I think they'll be all right. But Everton kind of annoys me in a way because every single season everyone goes, oh, they'll be in the top six. Oh, they'll be in the top six. But Mashiri's been in Everton for so long now, and I haven't seen anything genuine from them to say that they are going to start competing. Yeah, they're a big club, of course they are, but there's a long way to go. It takes a long time to try and break that.
I suppose if any time it was last season, weren't it, with Ancelotti and Alan and Rodriguez and that. Go on.
Benitez is a better fit, though, I think, than Ancelotti. Despite not purely just in terms of that team, not in terms of the fans, but in terms of managing that team and getting them competitive against a better opposition, I think Benitez is better at that than Ancelotti.
Yeah, that's got a good point, actually. And Ancelotti did him dirty, let's be honest. Like, when he left, I mean, that whole kind of thing fell out. And to be fair to Everton, they have tried to get the appointments. When Koeman come in, it seemed like a decent appointment as well. That fell apart. It takes time.
Is this true?
Time. Nah, can't be.
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have thought so.
Nah. He'd already be gone, wouldn't
he? He'd have gone last week, mate. He'd
be gone straight away.
That Ancelotti thing, it felt for the last year with the way that he was acting, like he was looking for an out. You could just see it, and you could see they weren't really doing much. Yeah, they're an effective side, and they're trying to play really good football. Obviously, he hasn't got the money, so he's thinking, okay, I've got to get out of here as soon as possible. And to be fair, the Watford loss, that's just down to Alex Iwobi coming on, really. That's what happens when he comes on the pitch.
It's mad, that,
well, it's like my uncle says, with Ancelotti, he's an Everton fan, and that lot. He says Ancelotti, it's like he goes to every club, and you're absolutely spot on, mate. In terms of in the back of the echo every single day when he first arrived, the first 6 months, it was how great Liverpool is as a city. But it's like he samples the best wines from every single city he's at, and then he gets bored after like 6 months and wants to move away. He did it in Napoli. He's done it in Madrid in the past. I think he was somewhere between Madrid and Napoli. Again, he just doesn't stay anywhere for a very long time. I don't think he's a very committed manager in that respect.
He's not even at Madrid for the long haul. He won't be at Madrid for the long haul. They'll replace him next year or something.
I don't think you'll see the season out of Madrid, to be honest. I think if the other teams were better, like Atletico Madrid or Barcelona, he's kind of winning the league at the minute by default. Really, if you look at the table, he's winning it by default. Really.
Well, that was a great chat on Watford, Southampton.
Who cares about either team, really?
I know that shows it, doesn't it? So let's just get some score predictions. I'm going 0-0. Locks?
1-0 Southampton.
1-0. Henry?
Oh, God. 2-1 Watford.
2-1. Corey?
1-0.
Ryan?
Yeah, 2-1 Watford.
Okay, and Oscar?
1-0 Watford.
1-0, right. Right, let's get something a little bit more juicy, a little bit more tasty. It is, of course, the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. Being coined El Sackio, which I think is absolutely brilliant. It's mad. Ryan, we'll start with you, mate. What are your thoughts going into this fixture? Is there a little part of you that thinks, I know it's mad, but let's get rid of him? How close is Nuno to the sack, do you think?
Not close. I don't think it's as close as people think. There's not.
No.
It's all right getting rid of him, but there's no one that wants to come to replace him. So there's no point getting rid of him to replace him again with Ryan Mason. There's just no logic to it. I know I'm not a Nuno fan. I was not a Nuno fan when we brought him in. It's just a watered down Mourinho. There's no football that I love under him at the minute. I mean, even Harry Kane under Mourinho was still playing well, scoring all the goals, and it's got me wishing that Harry Kane was sold in the summer because he's not interested under Nuno. He's not looking to the dugout and seeing a manager to inspire him anymore. He's looking at a former Wolves manager who did well in his first couple of seasons but didn't get his contract renewed at Wolves. That's who he's now got to look at. At least last season, he had a serial winner whether he's on a decline or not, he still had that motivation in the dugout, whereas now he's got no one. And when Kane don't play well, the whole team just seems to get dragged down because he is the main man. Everyone loves him. Everyone looks at him. Everyone expects it from him. And when he's playing bad, every single player's head just drops. They've got no clue of what to do. They've got no ideas. The only positive this weekend is that I know it sounds, I didn't think I'd ever say, but we're against Man U, who were in a similar, probably a worse situation than us because they're that much of a bigger team than us that there's more eyes on what's happening at Man U, especially with Ronaldo going back, and obviously they've got Solskjaer still there. And I think that was my biggest fear this weekend was Solskjaer getting the sack before the game.
Yeah.
If he'd got sacked before the game, I would have gone for a completely different prediction. But because he's still there, and I think Varane's still out. Is Varane still injured for this game?
I think so.
Yeah,
he's back in training now, but I don't know whether he'll be fit enough.
Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting weekend. But I think even if we lost heavily, he still won't get the sack this weekend.
Would you, if you could choose? I know you've just mentioned there how bad Nuno is. Would you take Ollie at Spurs?
No, I'd rather go back to Ryan Mason, to be honest.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. What happened with? I know you mentioned Potter earlier. You'll know a lot more than what we do. Was that ever close to happening? Was anything ever?
No, from what I read and saw, he wasn't interested in coming. I think it was the same situation with Ten Hag as well. They're just more comfortable at the clubs. But for a Brighton manager to say no, thank you, to leave Brighton and not come, it is obviously. I think Nuno, and I think he was 8th choice in the end. Nuno, we obviously went for Rodgers, who straight away said, "Piss off, no chance, I'm not coming." No way. We also went for Conte and Potter, Ten Hag, the guy linked with Newcastle now, that Fonseca. He was practically done, but Paratici said, "No, I don't want him. He's not defensive enough a manager to come in." So he's in the end picked Nuno because he plays a more defensive style of football, which contradicts the chairman's statement.
You just got rid of one of the best, didn't you? Really?
Yeah, before a cup final as well. I'm not saying we would have won that cup final, but
you've had more chance, wouldn't you?
Oh, with him there, definitely. But I mean, Levy said in the summer we want to go back to the Tottenham way. Obviously, there is no Tottenham way. It's not. There is no Tottenham way at all. It's just basically you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack football. That's the Tottenham way. A lot of goals in a game, and the fans can go home twice a month happy with a decent result. But to then go and get Nuno in, obviously, I know he's very high on that Paratici because of his time at Juventus and come highly recommended. But to pick a manager to play defensive style football with Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez as your centre backs, there's only one way it's going to work. It's not going to be title challengers. It's not going to be going on a long cup run or out like that. It's not. It's embarrassing. It is very embarrassing. And obviously, you had all the fans after 3 games, obviously top of the table. I was happy we was there, but there was no chance we were staying there. You'll have more chance of Norwich staying up than we've got being in the top 4 this season.
Yeah, it's not looking great. But
just to play devil's advocate, though, what is it? I feel a little bit sorry for Nuno, to be honest. I know he's not a Tottenham level manager. I'm not going to say that at all. But surely the bigger problem's Daniel Levy. Surely the priority, just get him out of your club. I know it's easier said than done, but surely I don't think any manager can be successful at Tottenham until you get rid of Daniel Levy. You can't make Eric Dyer, Højbjerg, and people like that just average players great for me. I know obviously you got Ndombele, Son, Kane, and that lot, but after that, really, is there any quality? I think if he's, where are you now? 6th,
5th, 5th.
Fifth.
Yeah.
I know. at the minute, in terms of performances and form, it looks like you'll probably drop off from that. But is Nuno not doing okay results-wise? Even if it's not, I know it's terrible to watch, but would you not at least give Nuno that he's probably achieving par with that team?
The problem he's got this season is 4 London derbies already, and that's 4 London derbies that we've lost. Obviously, West Ham, Crystal Palace, we got spanked. Like I say, that's the only victory of the season. Arsenal, that was the most embarrassing performance I've seen in a long time, especially against Arsenal, and then obviously Chelsea. But he does it. He's doing it at the minute where he's beating teams like Newcastle and let's say Villa are a bit of the same on and off at the minute, and we just scraped by Watford. He's picking up points that you expect him to pick up, but like the teams that we're playing at the minute. Hold on, sorry guys, hold on.
Don't worry.
Yes, babe. Go to mummy, darling. Yes, thank you, guys. Yes, thank you for checking.
Talking about something.
Yes, go on. Yes, yeah. Yes, babe. Yes, thank you. Yeah, she heard Tottenham, so she panicked. That's
brilliant. Are you okay, Dad? Talking about them again.
She hears that. No, we're not. Last season under Mourinho, we picked up good points. Obviously, I know we've beat Man City again this season, but it's just games. It's just so boring to watch the football, and obviously that doesn't help with obviously our best player, Harry Kane, is not interested at all. Ndombele, who's probably our most technically gifted player, can only last 55, 60 minutes a game. To them, where he's coming off for Lo Celso, who's got no right foot. He's just another Lamella. We've just swapped Lamella for the same type of player who's no good. So I give him till January, Nuno. I think the big thing for Tottenham is if Pochettino somehow again came available, I think he'd be all over that. I think he'll go straight back for Pochettino, and obviously PSG if he doesn't do well. I know he's top of the league. Champions League, yeah, but as soon as he's available, I think Nuno will be straight out the door and he'll come straight back in.
He'll be available soon, the way things are going.
Do you think he'll make that move? Poch?
Yeah,
you think he'd go back?
Yeah. Well, he was interested in the summer. He was interested in coming back in the summer.
Do you know who I think he'd be great at? I think Man United. If that job become available, I think Poch would look at it.
He can't handle superstars. He cannot. He's not a superstar manager. You can't handle. He would not be able to go into Man U and handle the Ronaldos, and obviously I know you can't really say superstars with these, but Sancho and Greenwood up and come in and
I think he's trying to prove a point though, isn't he? To me, he's trying to prove a point that he can, and if he can do it at PSG, he can do it with anyone. So. I think he's probably a little bit more stubborn in terms of he's been given a super team now, and it's to me it's this or bust for genuinely for his career at the top level. Like he could be at Spurs. Not to disrespect you guys, but you're not going to be competing for Champions Leagues in the next couple of years.
10 years, I think at least 10 years at least.
I was trying to be nice but fair.
Don't just dig it in. Just tell me how it is. It's fine.
But it's with him, this is it's not the pinnacle, but he's at the top now. And if he doesn't succeed with PSG with this team, with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe in that team, if he doesn't succeed, he looks weak and he looks like a pretty poor manager. And I think only then would he decide to go back to Spurs if PSG didn't challenge for the Champions League this year.
But if he went back to Spurs, surely he'd have to be back this time. There could be no debate because where Levy did him absolutely look. I despise Tottenham. Don't get me wrong, but that team in 2016-17 was unbelievable. It was so well balanced. He's an incredible manager with what he did. Levy has to back him. Surely, do you think in that situation, are Tottenham going to pay the money that he needs, or is it going to be a case of we've got to sell Harry Kane in order to reinvest?
Oh yeah, whoever comes in after Nuno won't have Harry Kane anyway. He'll be gone in the summer. And obviously we've not selling him this summer. They've knocked 50-75 million off his price anyway because he's older. He's had a poor season. They'll just want him off the book. So if City is still obviously the only positive for us is Haaland's obviously he's got the release clause, hasn't it? I don't know if it's 70 odd million. in his release clause in
60,
the summer.
62, I think it is.
Mate, Haaland's not going to Tottenham.
No.
He's going to City.
Yeah,
City.
potentially.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you
I
were
was
saying
going to say, I
Haaland's
don't
Tottenham.
think Ryan meant that.
No,
I was
definitely.
thinking, no, surely not.
Everyone's going to be putting in a 60 mil bid for Haaland if we're going down that.
Oh, please too.
Yeah.
Manager.
If City get obviously Haaland's a better choice, a lot younger.
Yeah.
A lot cheap. It will still be cheaper than what Tottenham would charge for Harry Kane in the summer. So everyone will go for Haaland, but there's no point keeping Harry Kane now, and it would just be another similar situation of Pochettino coming back, being promised money, being promised funds, being promised the world. Yeah, thank you. I'll come back to this job, and a year down the line, oh, sorry, we've got to sell Son to get you this player, or we've got to wait for Ndombele to leave. Any players like that, obviously. When he was here, he had Dele Alli, who could have gone for a lot of money, and he won't have that now, especially with just Son.
There's
Lloris
talk of him going in January as well, isn't there, Brian?
He'll go Newcastle in January. Dele Alli will. He'll be one of
I've
their
seen that
first
today
signings.
that Spurs fans are actually getting on board with it as well and saying like, yeah, it's time for him to go.
I do think if he goes Newcastle, the only problem Newcastle will have is everyone knows how rich they are, so everyone's going to put a premium on what they first value their own player at. So I don't think no one else will go for him in the Prem. Obviously, PSG won't go back for him now. They wanted him last January on loan with an option to buy. So I think it's either Newcastle or he'll just run his contract down with us now.
It's mad. But you fancy yourself this Saturday though?
I do think we'll beat Man U. I think it'll be a tight game. This is just two teams who cannot afford to lose at this rate, so it's going to be a very tight game. I don't see it as 4-3, 5-4 type of game. I do think we'll beat them 2-1 this week, and I do think Christian Romero will pocket Ronaldo this weekend, because Ronaldo don't move, does he? Let's be honest. He's just a striker now. He's not doing the channels. He's not coming short for the ball.
That's what he needs to against Eric Dyer, though.
Yeah, Romero will stick on him. Eric Dyer can. He'll just do what he wants to do like usual. We'll just leave Christian Romero on Ronaldo. But the only worry that I've got in that game is Rashford, because he loves playing against us. Absolutely loves it. And obviously we've got Emerson at right back now, who's still not used to this league yet. He's not used to Marcus Rashford, and he does love to get forward a lot. Sometimes forgetting, I think, oh shit, I'm a right back. I need to get back in position. He leaves a lot of space behind him. So as long as the defence are, as long as they're half decent, they need to be a lot better than they usually are. But I do think they will beat them 2-1.
That's fair. Let's hear Henry now and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I agree with Ryan. I don't think Nuno's anywhere close to the sacking. Personally, I don't anyway. But one man that surely is. Again, I think we're all in agreement. I still cannot believe, Henry, that he's in a job, mate. Like, why is he there? I mean, I'm enjoying it. Yeah. But why is he still there? You could see for it. Oh man, it's just madness. You can see for ages he's not the man. We were talking about this when we first started this show, and that was my season, and we're still talking about it
on our podcast. I'm pretty sure that was like last November or whatever it was.
Exactly.
And I've said all along. I said in like November, December last year, I said he wasn't a man for the job, and I got absolutely pelted for it because I know he's the United DNA. Respectfully, we've had Van Gaal and Mourinho. What the fuck is the United DNA anymore? Like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this thing being thrown around that he is, he plays the United way. We play worse football than we did under Van Gaal sometimes. It's really been that bad this year, and he's got a super team. He's got Ronaldo. He's got Sancho. He's got Rashford. He's got too many players almost at his disposal. He just has no idea what to do with them. So all he does is he panics and goes back to McTominay and Fred in midfield every single game. That thinks we're going to struggle and it's a big team or whatever. There are so many problems. Obviously, higher up problems than Solskjaer. If this were Chelsea or Liverpool, or I'd even argue if this were Leeds. Like I know we've beaten you guys, but in terms of where the teams are in terms of progression and stuff, if we were in a similar position, you'd have sacked him after getting pumped 5-0. There were people leaving on 60 minutes. There were people leaving. Even at half-time, people were walking out the ground. And you've seen the photo of Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, that pretty much sums up every United fan during that game. We knew we were going to get thumped. If we do what we did against Atalanta, we knew we were going to get thumped anyway. So I wasn't expecting 5. I was expecting, 2 or 3 and a battering, but I was not expecting 5. And he should have been gone. He should have been gone midweek. Yeah, straight away. Just get on the phone, get a new manager in, and because the problem is, if he wins this game, he buys himself time. Yeah, and the Glazer family are so weird in the sense that you think they're businessmen, they're billionaires, but they are idiots. They are some of the worst businessmen I've ever seen. So you've got a problem with your side, and sponsors are probably breathing down their necks, going, "What are you guys doing?" You have the chance to go and win, challenge for the Premier League and the Champions League with a top manager, and you're doing this. It's baffling. So that the club is kind of rotten from top to bottom in the sense that fans are unanimously agreeing that Solskjaer should leave. He should either say, "Hang on a minute, I'm not good enough for the job," and walk, or he should be sacked. And if he wins 1 out of these 3 games, it's just going to drag on and on and on. And it would be great for you guys because you can keep singing Ollie's at the wheel. But it's going to be the most painful thing for us because listening to City fans chant that against West Ham in a game that we're not even involved in, that's agonising. They should play that on repeat to the Glazer family in front of a TV for half an hour.
Yeah,
this is what the rivals are doing.
Do you know what though, Henry? If you didn't tell them they weren't your rivals, they'd assume it were your own fans.
Exactly.
I genuinely don't think they know what colour you wear half the time. Do you know what I mean?
I just mentioned one thing quickly. I know you guys have had problems with owners in the past, like bad problems in terms of spending and the connection with fans. These guys told us after the Super League problem they were going to be communicating with us, about what was going to happen with the club. They haven't said a word since that statement came out. They haven't said anything. They've said there's been a couple of briefs that the stadium's we're going to increase the capacity on the stadium. That's nonsense. They've been talking about that for the last 10 years, and they've gone silent again, and they're not acting on a manager that's clearly out of his depth and has got coaches that they're academy coaches at best. And again, it's the divide between fans and owners. They're sat in their ivory tower looking down thinking, well, making me money, so who cares? Take my dividends at the end of the month. So it's like I would never want to see another club go through this genuinely. Like even I know you guys might be liking it, but even the Leeds and I know people say United, big club, we spend a lot of money. We do, but this club's it's rotten. The owners are rotten, and they're pretty horrible people. So I'd never wish the Glazer family on anyone.
It's mad though, isn't it? Because
wait till you have David Sullivan, mate, then you'll know all about it. Trust me.
Yeah.
He'll probably sell Old Trafford and send you to an athletics track. Don't worry about
Fair.
that. It's mad because for me, I'm not saying, but I can't say you only have yourself to blame. That's wrong. But obviously, the reaction after signing Ronaldo, finally getting Sancho, it all went away and everything was rosy again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was only going to end one way though, I think. And I always said, obviously, I support United because of my dad. I know people say, well, it's a family thing. I grew up watching them, and we've had these debates over the last year and a half. And I've always said he won't succeed. I said he'd be sacked in November, and I mean, I said end of October or November, and I'm being kind of proven a little bit right in that sense.
Yeah.
because I think in the international break, I think we'll get thumped by City. I think Atalanta could do a number on us. And if we lose to Spurs, no disrespect, if we lose to Spurs, that is possibly going to be the worst moment of the season. I mean, getting thumped by Liverpool is bad enough, but losing to the Spurs in the situation they're in at the moment, after losing to Vitesse and losing to Paca de Ferreira over in Portugal, that would be really, really low. And you're right in the sense that some United fans deserve it because they said we're going to win the Champions League when we've got Ronaldo. It's not as simple. You've got to have a competent manager as well.
Yeah, Saeed on the Big Six said they were going to win the quadruple. It was the best thing I've ever seen.
Funny, mate. It's so funny.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
The shades on, unreal.
Henry, you do think you're going to win this one, though, right?
What, the Spurs game? No.
Yeah.
I think the players were down tools. No, I think they were down tools. Yeah. This whole thing with some of the squad backing in. The Liverpool game definitely showed that, didn't it? Pogba got himself sent off, was grinning as he walked off the pitch. And you got players like Maguire who...
What about Ronaldo doing this? Do you think he was genuinely taking the piss?
Yeah. I think he was. And he stormed off after I think it was the Everton game. Yeah. And he's doing all that. And it's... Ronaldo would coach this side better than Solskjaer. Honestly. And that is so... painful to think about because we've got a manager who he's a nice guy. Oh, well done. He does this and he's a nice guy. Oh, brilliant! So you give him one of the biggest jobs in world football.
Yeah, all that thing is like Gary Neville, and he's going, he's brought the fun and everyone's smiling and I just think, come on, man, they're paid to do a fucking job. Yeah, do you know what I mean? No, if that makes sense.
He's shown his allegiances, and he's shown that he's more focused on his mate doing well in a job, or on backing his friend than actually backing the club. And that to me, that's shameful. That really
he now for me, Henry, as a fan watching Monday Night Football or whenever it is, he can never say that manager should be sacked ever again. Now for me. No, because he will always get told, well, what about Ollie?
You know what would happen? I want Conte to come in, but I don't know whether he will because the board they like control. The Glazers like control, and Ed Woodward, I know he's leaving, but he'll still be a part of the the higher ups. They all want control, and Conte kind of challenges the boards that he's been at, even with Abramovich and the Inter situation as well. So I don't know whether we'll bring him in, but if we did and we started winning things, bin Gary Neville. Get him off Sky. Bin him. Honestly. Because his opinion then means nothing. Honestly, he still thinks we'll win a trophy, and I think he said we could get far in the Europa League, so he's assuming we'll get dumped out of the Champions League, which is nice of him. And he thinks we'll get top four. Oh, brilliant. Just so Ronaldo, Sancho and Varane. And we're aiming for top four in a Europa League. Oh God, yeah, I can't go any longer. So Jesus, wow,
yeah. Oscar, who do you back in this one, mate? Who's closest to the sack for you, Oscar? You still with us? Because someone said you look like you were falling asleep. Sorry,
I'm still here.
I know it's been a long one, but you're knocking back them Capri Suns, so they'll keep.
I know. It keeps me awake, mate. Keeps me awake. I'm a mess. Who's saying I'm falling asleep? That's outrageous. That.
Oscar's having a little nap, but it's because of the
outrageous.
Peak. You can't see your eyes over the peak.
You can't see my eyes. Oh God! Everyone's having a pop at me today. It'll be an awful game. This, we won't be a spectacle at all. I think Tottenham will try and play on the counter like I've done all season under Nuno. And I think Man United are disjointed at best when you watch them. I think it's just you struggle to see how you're going to get a good game of football there. There's just one thing about Solskjaer. I think me and Corey have discussed it. He always seems to just get himself out of trouble. Just as he seems like a game away from the sack, he just seems to get that result every single time. And I just think, in terms of Kane versus Ronaldo, who you'd back more to do the business if they get the one chance in the game, it's probably Ronaldo at this moment in time. It's probably Ronaldo most of the time, in all honesty. So I'm going to go 1-0 Man United. Yeah, I do have
Lose at the
that
wheel for a
feeling
bit
that.
longer.
But I don't know.
Oscar, do you think there's a big chance, right? Imagine this, yeah, and this will kill you, Henry. They've got 3 games now between international break. Imagine he gets a result against Atlanta, beats Spurs and beats City in the Manchester derby.
He's not beating City. Come on, Joe.
You never know, though, bro.
City will be the one that does it. City's the game just before international break. If he loses that one, which I think he will, I think the Man United board will look at it and say they've got 2 weeks to get someone in settled. I think you see a lot of changes made in that November window as well. I think Pochettino went from Tottenham in that spell. I think Emery went from Arsenal in that spell. Quite a few managers do go around that time. So I think that's all they're doing. I think it will be that City game that does it, to be honest. I don't think it'll be as heavy. I think Neville said that they could lose that City game like 1-0, but if they get absolutely battered and have like 20% of the ball at home and Bernardo Silva's taking the piss, for want of a better word, I think he will 100% be gone at that one. But this City game will be the one that does it for me.
Liverpool were toying with us when we went down to 10 men. They were taking the piss.
Yeah,
they could have, if they wanted to, they could have scored 10. And wow, just how this manager's still got a job, man. Honestly, standard.
So yeah, exactly. Corey, thoughts on this one?
I think Spurs do it. I know it's not the Tottenham way, and then they're not playing, and I know they've declined a little bit. I didn't think they were that bad against us, and I didn't even think going into the game they were going to be that bad. They've still got some fantastic attacking players. The thing with United is they are so off it in terms of an identity. Like, we're seeing them now, they're playing this weird press that they literally don't, that it's not been properly coached. The midfield is in pieces. The defence is in absolute disarray. Maguire, again, is coming too early. If Varane's not in there, you'd be concerned that Ollie's kind of stuck between. I think there's serious pressure on him so far this season, where you've brought Ronaldo, you've brought Sancho, Varane's come in, the board and the fans expect you to kick on, and now all of a sudden he's gone to a 4-3-3. If Ollie wants to save his job, the best thing he'll do is nick this game 1-0, go 4-2-3-1, and put McTominay and Fred, and go back to what he knows and what they're good at. I don't think he will. I have a feeling he'll fall on his shield a little bit and under the Man United DNA. And I think Tottenham have got enough players, if Manchester United are too poor in that press, to exploit them. Son, Ndombele picking up little pockets here and there. Kane's still dangerous, and I think Nuno is trying to work on getting him further up the pitch. I think Tottenham will nick it 2-1. And I'd be surprised, if I'm honest, if Ollie was still in the job after that. I think if he loses to Tottenham, at what point, if you're Man United, you not look at Atalanta and you look at the Champions League form and think, hang on a minute, we need to really start getting through these groups, because Ollie's record in the Champions League is horrific. It's actually embarrassing. Like, you look in terms of statistics. So, yeah, I think Spurs need to be fair to them.
The Champions League game as well will be away, right? And they'll have players back. Didn't they have like 6 players out in the first game?
Six first 11 players.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So surely they could beat them. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, Corey. It's mad. Right, let's get some score predictions before we move on. So I'm gonna say Man United do it, because I just think Ollie's gonna I think it's half hoping that he gets some results in these next 3, so he's still there. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Manchester United. Henry?
I think we'll scrape a 1-1, if I'm honest. Last ditch kind of thing. And Ronaldo won't start, I don't think.
You don't think
he'll drop him? No, I think he'll drop him.
That would be a big call. Big
He'll go
call.
back to
Oscar?
Roots.
Yeah. You're muted, mate.
1-0 Man United. Ronaldo's scrappy goal.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer cock up somewhere along the lines.
Ryan?
2-1 Tottenham. Solskjaer sacked 8 p.m. Saturday.
Love that. And I know Corey gave us his 2-1 as well. We've had a super chat coming from Andy as well. Big shout out, Andy, great supporter of the show. Says 3-0 to Leeds. Match on together, all Leeds away. Hopefully Rafa and Bamford are back. And he says McFred is the best midfield in the world. Brilliant. Right, let's do that. The next game then is the 2 p.m. and then we'll get some quick score predictions for the other 2, because I know I've kept you all long tonight. Sorry about this, guys. Norwich, Leeds United then. Before me and Oscar have a little chinwag. Do any of you think Norwich get a result in this?
I do.
No.
Go on, Ryan, talk to us. Come on.
I do. I think they'll win 1-0, Norwich.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I don't know what. I think Leeds. It could happen in this Norwich game. Leeds just need that one win before then they can start climbing the table. I don't know what's up with them. Obviously, I think you've got one of the best wingers in the league, in my opinion. And Rafinha, I think, is absolute quality. He's an upgrade on Saint Maximan because he can finish. He's quick. He beats players. I don't know. Has Bamford been out for a few weeks? Has he or?
Yeah, we don't know yet. Press conference tomorrow, so it's. I don't think he'll be back in the side. I can't see it.
Certainly won't start. Definitely won't start for me. Bench at best.
What about Calvin Phillips? I ain't seen much of him. Is he?
Calvin played midweek in the cup, first game back, so he'll start at the weekend.
I think that's probably been my worry for Leeds this season. They haven't really seemed to have a consistent 11. You've had injuries to obviously key players and whatnot. So I think once you've got your settled squad again, and your new players start to bed in a bit more and get more comfortable with obviously Bielsa, like a Dan James, Bielsa's approach to training is completely different to Solskjaer's. Is what he wants from his players is massive compared to what Solskjaer would have wanted from Dan James. So once your new players get bedded into the side and everyone's happy, I think they'll lose this weekend, but I think you'll be miles away from the relegation zone come the end of the season.
Wow, that's a mad one, isn't it? Norwich only 2 points on the board still yet. I think they've scored 2 goals all season. Don't get me wrong, like there is the Leeds fan in me that is convinced they're going to beat us, like genuinely. But when I look at things and take a step back and say, right, what have they done? Where are they at? Like, surely we have to beat them. Like, I don't see how, but stranger things have happened. What about you, Henry?
Oh, this is, to be fair, this is tough. Where is it being played? Is it at Carrow Road or is it?
Yeah, Carrow Road, mate. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. If it was at Ellen Road, I honestly think you'd batter them. Right. I think it would be like 4 or 5. But Norwich is such a weird side. They will get relegated this year. Everyone knows it.
Yeah,
they're the only ones that you think, as soon as they came up, you're like, right, back down you go. You know, see you later. I think it will end 1-1. I think it'll end in a draw, and just based on the fact that Bamford's not fully fit, you know, you've got players that are coming back. Calvin Phillips, I know he played midweek, but he's not. He won't be fully fit. So
he was shaky in that Arsenal game in part. Yeah. To be fair,
I think it's obviously a tough game to come back into for starters. So I think, yeah, and Norwich. This for me is the last straw for Farke. If I'm looking at it objectively, I think he's in trouble if they don't, win this weekend. I think the pressure's on because is it just me or are they're just too nice all the time every season? They don't.
Does my idea, mate.
I want them to be at a Burnley almost at times, and I just say, just get a big striker and just pump it into the box. Just try something different. No, it's just tiki-taka, useless ball which doesn't work with Grant Hanley at the back. Let's be honest. So, but I think they'll scrape something just because they are, both sides are on a little bit of a shaky run. So I think it could be close.
Corey, I mean, any confidence I did have has just been beaten out of me there by Ryan and Henry. But points on the board against Burnley and Brighton. Like Burnley, we've already drawn with them. Brighton are a decent side. So are they right to be back in Norwich, or you think Leeds have too much?
I just don't see Norwich winning. If I'm honest, I know it's Chelsea, but defensively it was that bad to play with a back 5 and be picked off in wide areas like they were. If you're Leeds and you're looking at that, and even you could argue you haven't been clinical enough this season. I've seen you see Daniel James is now starting to play this 9 position. I just think with the pace in beyond, and if Leeds can overload very quickly, I can't see Norwich being able to deal with it. You might sit there in the game and think we just aren't taking our chances, but I think you'll create enough. And I don't see enough from Norwich going the other way to really trouble you, if I'm honest. I think it was probably the right thing for Farke to start playing Pukki with somebody else, but I just don't see enough consistently from them that's going to trouble your back four or your back three. So I've gone 2-0 to you lot, to be fair. I just think you'll have enough quality to get the job done.
Yeah. I have to, like, I do think it'll be a bit of Oscar. I think it'll be a bit of a famous last words, and you shouldn't do it. It's on YouTube and all that. But I have to say things with my chest. I think we beat them, and we beat them well this weekend. I can't see them scoring. They only scored 2 goals all season. I think only one of them's from open play. I was listening to something. They've got so many. Todd Cantwell, he's fallen out with Farke. Don't even get a look in. And Billy Gilmore, that they were creasing Leeds fans on Twitter for, saying we're signing a Champions League winner, you're signing such and such. A Barcelona reject it was.
We didn't sign any midfielders.
No, yeah, but
we can't do any comparisons there.
No, I know, but they bookmarked it. I bookmarked it. It was a Norwich fan anyway. But what I'm saying is Billy Gilmore, he's not even playing him because they've switched to like was just said, like a 5-3-2, and I don't know. I just think we'll have too much for them, man. Rafinha, James, Rodrigo. I'd even start Geldart, mate. I'd start Geldart behind Rodrigo if Bamford doesn't make it, which I don't think he will. Calvin's going to be in there. Pukki and Sargent, is it? I mean, that Sargent looked woeful. I just think we'll have too much for him, Oscar. Look, the comments. Not again, Joe. Let me just say
not
as
again,
well.
Not again.
But you know what frustrates me the most is how when you say something, people say don't jinx it, as though like me voicing it has any like impact on the result whatsoever. I will say with my chest, and I will get clipped up, and I'll say it in my preview tomorrow because it's in my head. We're going to beat them 4-0. I do think we will beat them 4-0. We are going. No, honestly, Oscar, it's going to click. Rafinha,
where's 4 goals coming from at the minute?
No, but this is what I'm saying. It has to click at some point.
Grant Hanley tats can only take you so far.
I just think from wide areas, we will have too much. Rafinha will get one, cutbacks in. Rodrigo, I'm expecting to score. If Geldart starts as well, I think we'll have too much for them. But that's just me. But Oscar, bring me back down. Because I know there'll be other people out there say we'll draw. And I am scared we will lose, but we've got too much for him, man.
I think so. I think certainly defensively, I think we're okay. I think Llorente and Cooper or Llorente Struick, whoever it is, I would like to think they can do a job on Pukki and Sargent. Certainly Llorente, I think, will be okay against them too. And then obviously it's quite a basic system after that, a 5-3-2. I'm not sure any of the midfield three really contribute that much in the final third from what I've seen. I think Norman's got a few moments in him. He looks okay. But again, they're all just okay players. I think defensively, though, they are really struggling. I don't think they've got any real quality at the back. I think even Max Aarons, I think...
But Ben Gibson as well got a red card last weekend.
Yeah.
So he's going to be out. And he's rubbish anyway, but he's one of their main centre-backs. Do you know what I mean?
Max Aarons gets a lot of praise, but again, even Max Aarons, I've never really, since they got up from the Championship, I've never really seen it from either this season or the last season they're in the Premier League of him being I think he's an okay player, but I don't think he's a really top. He's not standing out to me in terms of like a Tariq Lamptey or a Livramento does at Southampton, nowhere near that level. But I've seen people comparing to them, but not for me. But I think obviously Rafinha on the pitch is massive. I think obviously in terms of they're a naive team, Norwich, really. They leave a lot of space between the lines. I think someone like Rafinha can cause problems in those areas. Even Rodrigo, I think, will be a lot more suited to a game like this, where there's a bit more space and it's a little bit more open. It's going to be a little bit more of a counter-attack versus counter-attack. Dan James, obviously, had opportunities against Arsenal. To be fair to you, I thought Dan James did okay against Ben White first half in that channel. I thought he got in behind Ben White a couple of times, and that's Ben White.
His final ball, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got hammered for this. But I said, you can't tell me Dan James is a far better player. You can't tell me there's much difference in end products between Dan James and Tyler Roberts at this moment in time. They're as frustrating as each other. James will be better, but right now, I said if it's 0-0, if that game's 0-0 with 20 minutes to go, Rafinha's the one I'm confident will step up and win us the game. But I think 2-0. I think Rafinha will get one. And then I'm going to say Bamford from the bench. If Bamford comes on, former team, Norwich fans will be giving him stick because he had a horrendous time at Norwich. You know what happens when Bamford plays against former teams. So I think we'll win. Norwich will have moments. I think it'll be a tough one. Just win the game. Honestly, I don't see a 4-0 from this. I really don't see a 4-0. I think surely Norwich... Well, Farke's gone. If they lose 4-0, there's no way Farke can survive that. I know Stuart Webber's been backing him this week. There is no way Farke's surviving a 4-0 if they lose that game. But I've got horrible feelings about it, but I think we'll be okay. I think
we're going to
on the
fucking
pitch,
lose, aren't we,
on the
son?
pitch.
We're going to lose. And I swear to God, like, social media for Leeds fans, like, it's not even worth it. It's so toxic. And if we lost that, can't deal with it. Like
you'll lose 3-0 on a Jake Sargent hat trick.
Oh, don't, man, don't.
Imagine the scenes.
The mad thing is, like, I was praising Cooper last week because he had an absolutely unreal performance against Wolves, and then he comes off the bench against Arsenal and heads it too short back to the keeper. Eddie Nketiah nips in and scores, and then straight away my comments were like, "What about Cooper now, Joe?" While I was doing my watch along, I was like, "For fuck's sake, man!"
It's funny. It's actually mad you say that, mate. Because like even with West Ham, like last season, there were players like Diop or Ben Rama where it was so polarized, and like anything happens, everyone's like, "There you go, there's proof of that," or the other way, "There's proof of that." It's mad how fans like jump on. At the end of the day, you just want your team to do well. And every time I've seen Leeds play, I think other than that, all I can put it down to Cooper was a bit of head loss. I don't think Cooper's actually been that bad, if I'm honest. But I know what it is. You follow your club and you want certain players and you've got certain opinions. But yeah, it is a bit mad how it can go
when it's agendas before results. That's when you know your fan base is in big trouble.
Mate, I actually hate it. Like even we did well last season, and I hate it when it gets to a point where it's like, oh, this player's bad, and everyone's so obsessed with proving a point. At the end of the day, you just want your team to win. That's it. If the player does well, brilliant.
What was so sad as well, Corey, he's our club captain, and has been for how long now, Oscar? 4, 5?
I think it's the 4th season now. 5th season, maybe, actually.
Yeah. No, it'd be longer than that because he was.
I think it's the 5th season because Christiansen made him captain. It's the 5th season now.
And club captain and brought us back to the Premier League, and he gets called League One Liam because we got him from Chesterfield, and he still gets that now. And the sad thing was the other day, someone went on his likes on Twitter, and he liked people being negative about him, but he weren't even tagged in the tweets. So that means they hadn't even added him. So he's looking his name up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it got picked up, and that's your club captain. And then obviously when people people like put that out there, he then quickly unliked them all. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, have you seen what our club captain's doing? But I just felt so sorry for him, man, because I was like, for fuck's sake, man, he's the club captain. But it's a sad situation. But there we go. Ryan, if you need to shoot, mate, I can appreciate the little and I'll be wanting putting to bed and that, mate. No worries. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me on, bud. I appreciate it. Cheers, lads. Have a good one, boys.
You too, mate.
You too, man. Cheers.
Is everyone else all right? Are we all right?
Yeah.
Getting to the best bit in a minute, aren't we? Getting to the best bit.
Going
to
the best bit, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll be sat here on my own like that. We're now going to do Wolves Everton. Right. Let's move it on then. Let's move it on and Aston Villa West Ham. Before we speak about West Ham and let Corey have his moment, I mentioned this, and you know what I'm like. If I think there's something, and I think I'm going to be right about something, I don't let it go. I believe there is a conversation to be had, Henry, about Dean Smith at Aston Villa. Because if they lose again this weekend, that's like 4 on the bounce, or you know what? And he spent money, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, if I'm honest, the results have just been weird. The Wolves one stood out to me, and I was thinking, you know, they're rivals, and when that happens, you're like, that's not good. That's not a good look. And it was obviously at Villa Park as well, and you're thinking,
yeah.
Oh, last minute to your rivals, and bear in mind the amount of money they've spent on the squad. I know they lost Grealish, which is a huge loss, but it almost felt like it felt like he was carrying that side, and they were so determined to prove that that wasn't the case. And this year, it's really not good. Like, and I'm with you. Honestly, I think that 2 or 3 more defeats, and you're staring down the barrel because Buendia's not playing well.
Yeah.
You've got players like Watkins is doing okay up there. Ings is doing all right, but none of them are standing out as fantastic. And these guys were brought in to take them to potentially challenge for Europe, even if that's just Conference League or whatever. And it's not good for a club of they're a big club. They should be challenging with the amount of money they've spent. And it could be a purple patch, but if it's not, and they start losing, more games, game after game, week after week, even if it's by a goal, he could be in serious trouble in that job.
Yeah, it's a fair conversation to have in it, Oscar. To be fair, mate, because obviously you can sort of forgive last season if you're a Villa fan. They lose Grealish, he gets injured. I think they lost they only won 1 in 10 when he was out, weren't he? And it shows how big of an impact he had at the football club. They've now reinvested that money, bought some decent players, players that have done it. Danny Ings done it. Even Buendia, when he was up with Norwich, did it, got the numbers, you know what I mean? So it's not as if these are a bit like Norwich who just, took a gamble on a few. They bought ready-made Premier League, operators who've been doing it, and it's just not going well for him, is it? And against a very tough West Ham side who are just the boys at the minute.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one player you don't mention there is Leon Bailey. Bailey is such a... I mean, in terms of stats in the Bundesliga, his numbers weren't that far off Jadon Sancho, to be fair. I know, obviously, much less fanfare around signing Leon Bailey, but you got to say, in terms of what he's done when he has been on the pitch, has been fantastic for Villa. Unreal in that Everton game. I think he even managed to get himself an assist in that Arsenal game. He's a good player, and I think when they've got him back in, Buendia just hasn't worked out so far. I think he will get better, but I don't think he's ever going to truly be the Grealish replacement. I don't think he's ever going to truly hit those kind of heights. He's a slightly different player to Grealish, not quite as much as a ball carrier or someone who can just produce a moment out of nothing like a Grealish can. But I think Bailey's the one where I think there's going to be expectation when he's back in the team. He's sticking with this stupid 3-1-4-2 system where they didn't play that at all last season. The season before, they've never really played 2 strikers up top. I think because he's brought in Danny Ings, because he's got Watkins there, he feels like he's got to get both in the team at the same time, but he's not really better in the team at all. You've got to have some... It's all well and good having 2 strikers on the pitch, but if you can't get any service into them, what's the point? You ask the question, can they play one of Ings or Watkins, Buendia one side, Bailey the other, and maybe Ramsey looks a decent talent in terms of in the number 10 role. Could they try something like that maybe, like they did last season? But yeah, the pressure will be on Dean Smith eventually. I think obviously, I know he's a Villa boy, he's a Villa fan, etc. But he wasn't a former player. He's not like Solskjaer at Man United. He's had legendary moments for them. At the end of the day, he's just a fan. He's not had those. He's not got that. He wasn't a brilliant player for Villa. I don't think he even played for Villa, but he's not got that about him. So I don't think it'll be as hard for the Villa fans to turn on him. And I think there will be more expectation. At the end of the day, it's not just because they've spent money since Grealish left. They spent money whilst Grealish was there. They were spending like 120 mil, 140 mil. All these players are brought in. And I think when you look at their team, when you go through their team, they should be doing better. There's a decent team there. Why he persists with Tyrone Mings, I don't know. He's brought in Twanzebe. He's got Konza there. Surely just play Konza and Twanzebe. I don't know. I don't think is he strong enough to make that change? I think he has to. Because I think under a press, as you saw in that Arsenal game, Arsenal pressed high. Mings struggled with that. Target, I thought, struggled with that. And Martinez, despite being a brilliant shot stopper, the reason Arsenal let him go was because he wasn't brilliant with his feet. And I think you saw that in the Arsenal game. Some unreal saves. And he'll always give you a chance when you got Martinez in goal. He'll always be the top keeper in terms of, what's it they call it, post-shot XG, I think it is. He'll always be well up there in those kind of stats. But I sound like Martin and Phil now, don't I, to be fair? But he'll always be up there in those stats. But he does put them in trouble as well, to be fair, with his goal kicks and that lot. So Villa have got a bit of a problem. They've really got to get Bailey in the team. They've got to hope that he can start to be the Jack Grealish. He's a different kind of player, but you've got to hope in terms of output, he's the man that really steps up for them. But I think Villa, they've been my surprise team so far in terms of drop off. I fancy Villa to be the top team outside of the top six. I always thought the top six would be the same, but I thought Villa might be that team above Everton, above Leicester, even, in terms of the recruitment they did. And the thing is, as well, they're not even playing European football. West Ham are playing European football, and they're still looking better, and that's a big worry for me. But I can't see anything other here than a West Ham win. I don't think they'll batter him, but I think Declan Rice will just put his foot on the ball. You know what Villa Park's like. First 20 minutes, they'll be well up for it. Declan Rice puts his foot on the ball, strings a few passes together. Villa can't get the ball, and eventually West Ham will find the way. Probably Antonio off the back of Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, let's hope that is the case, because I'm not a fan of Tyrone Mings. Corey, talk to us about West Ham, mate. You must just, like you said at the start of the show, just on cloud nine right now, mate.
Mate, honestly, last night was just pure elation. And there's a lot of fans on social media saying this is the best that I can remember. People might laugh because it's just beating, Man City in a cup or whatever, but just the performances and the team as well. Like there were times last night where in pretty much my whole lifetime, to be honest, when you play that level aside, West Ham would fall apart. And there was a part in the second half where we were actually trying to play through Manchester City. And I thought bravery to do that with some of our players when you've not got Deck and you've not got Mickey and Fornals and Bowen and Ben Rama all off. I just thought the fact that now we're able to switch players around, they can come into a system, they completely understand their role, and the performance level is still there. We're not a top side in terms of personnel, but that's what a top side has, that consistency within the squad. They understand exactly what they need to do. And I think Moisey, to be fair to him, he's shown his real credibility as a manager. Like in the last couple of games, we've gone to 4-4-2 out of possession. We've kept it tight. The gap between midfield and defence is virtually negligible, and then we'll hit you on the counter. And the counter, to be fair, hasn't been great, if I'm honest, in the last two games. But we're still churning out results. We've tried to be more possession-based this year. We look successful against Everton. So we see different looks from West Ham every other week. And the fact we are managing Europe very well at the minute honestly, mate, I'm just buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. Areola coming last night was just phenomenal. Absolutely outstanding. And now you're looking around and you've got Ben Johnson, 20 years old, comes in for Soufal, and he's not lost a ground jewel in every game he's played. We've not conceded a goal with Ben Johnson. That's the level that we're at the minute. So I think Villa's an interesting one. We're hitting them at the right time, in my opinion. The amount of losses that they've had, they are going to press us. The back three looks vulnerable. I think it's a perfect game for West Ham in that 4-2-3-1. The balance with Declan Rice just between the centre backs, and then the front four, they'll be fresh. Mickey's going to be fresh and up for it, and I think Oscar hit it on the head regarding Tyrone Mings. He's looked absolutely woeful, and Mickey will fancy it on the half turn. But on the West Ham fans' perspective, to play Manchester United and play City with a rotated team and do what we did, it's just class, mate. It's absolutely class. And fair play Marky Nobes last night as well, by the way, getting that pen. He loved it, mate. He loved it. And he played all right last night. That's what I'm saying. Like, normally, play against Gundogan, play against De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish, he'd normally get torn apart. But that's what I'm saying, mate. We've got a sick manager in at the minute. And yeah, long way to continue, bud.
I love it, mate. I'm so happy for you, honestly. I can't lie.
Oh, yeah. And we got that takeover news as well. You got that news coming out today. What's
the crack with that then?
Basically, he's the Slavia Prague owner, from what I understand, and he wants to purchase a stake, 27% in the club, which would, and I don't know how this would affect the dynamic with Gold and Sullivan, but it would force it a little bit elsewhere. And from what I understand is, if he purchases that stake, there's an immediate injection of money. So we could be looking at a situation in January where West Ham may have 40, 50, hopefully 60 mil to spend. And I don't think Moyes will ever spend that much, if you're asking me honestly. I think he'll go and he'll find little gems here and there. And listen, his recruitment's been spot on, but it gets me excited. It will finally get GSB closer to getting out the door. And if we can add a little bit here, we'll have a really good season again. So, yeah, that's it.
European football, mate. European football twice on the trot, bro.
The money would be more than that, wouldn't it? The valuation of West Ham is apparently Newcastle was 300 million. Sky is saying it's like 700-800 million. They're saying the valuation of the
it's a little bit skewed. So he'll come in, he'll purchase obviously that 27%. It'll be a lot less than what that is. The problem is with our owners is they are valuing it well and above what will get them out of the club, like the way that Newcastle actually wanted it sold. But it just means an injection of money, and
it will take over. I genuinely
think it will. I agree. It will. I agree. It will. I think that's the first step.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's great for you guys. It's great for you guys. I mean, the Slavia thing, there's been worries about both Prague clubs in regards to how the fans are and stuff over there, and obviously he owns them. So there will be concerns, which is fair enough with every owner. But I mean, as far as the season goes, it can't get much better in terms of getting the owners out that you don't want, getting a new guy in who's got 4 billion. I mean, he won't have that money in his bank account, but he's got business interests as well. So he's a smart guy. You guys, you could displace one of the top 6 in terms of.
Well, look, I mean, that's mad. Like you have to pinch yourself, don't you? And you're sitting there going, well, but it's so strange because as a fan, like obviously I spoke to you guys when I started up YouTube, and we were woeful. We'd literally just stayed up. So every time you see this team, you're thinking, what is going on? Like literally, what is going on? But on the owner coming in, he's got links obviously in the Czech Republic, and Holacek's a player for Slavia Prague that West Ham could be looking at, and that'd be a clever bit of business. And I know Moyes is keen on him as well, so bring him in, get a striker, rest Mickey, rotate him, get Lingard back to the club where he belongs, and then we'll see what happens.
You know, it'll be a Watford Udinese situation where the two clubs will get, Watford will give their cast-offs to Udinese, which they usually do, and you'll get in the good talent that comes through their youth system and stuff. And I mean, having linked clubs that's a big deal, and that's honestly, that could be so beneficial for you guys.
I hope so.
Nice, man. Good luck with that, Corey. But let's have your score prediction.
2-0. 2-0. I fancy Mickey, and I fancy a Souček header from a set piece as well.
Nice. Oscar?
I just see the comment going, West Ham and the Czech Wolves now.
Oh, no, I saw that on Twitter, actually. I mean,
good comment, that. Good comment. One. No, actually, you know what? 2-1 West Ham. I reckon Souček will beat Mings in the air on the corner. I'll go 2-1 West Ham.
Love that. And Henry?
3-1. I think Villa will get back into it, but then West Ham will get another goal and it'll be done. So 3-1 West Ham.
And I'm gonna go 2-0 West Ham. Mikel Antonio he's in my FPL team, so he's got to pull up trees. He's a beast, isn't he? Just a beast.
An animal. Harry Kane didn't know what hit him. He didn't know what hit him.
Love that. And then finally, we'll just go around the houses. It's been a long one, longer than normal. I don't know why. I really need to get better at my presentation skills, man. Wolves versus Everton. I'm going to go for 2-1 Everton. Henry?
0-0 snooze fest.
Yes, fair. That's fair. Oscar?
2-1 Wolves. Jimenez and Hwang Hee-chan, too much for Everton. 2-1 Wolves.
Nice. Corey?
2-0 Wolves.
2-0 Wolves. Right, cool. There you go. There it is, guys. There's your Premier League preview. We've lost guests throughout. We've been going longer than 2 hours. It's been a long one, but I have really enjoyed it, as is always the case. Henry, enjoy it, mate. Debut, all good?
It's been fantastic. And I never thought I'd be agreeing with Leeds fans and stuff on things, but credit to you guys. This is a brilliant show.
Great stuff. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing over on the. I have got it in front of me, but I'll let you tell me. Well, One United pod. That was it. One United pod.
Yeah, we've been kind of intermittent with it, to be fair, because obviously I'm at uni at the moment up in Derby, so we've been here and there and everywhere, but we're back on it tomorrow for a little bit of a preview of, as you called it, El Sackio, which will be an interesting one. But yeah, we're on there every now and then, and it's us just talking about the great Man United.
The link is in the description to that. Ryan as well. Ryan, who was with us earlier on, the Spurs fan. does work for, just give me a sec, the First 11 TV YouTube channel. Their link is in the description as well. So big shout out, Ryan, for coming. Locks over on Locks in the Box. Corey, what's going on the West Ham way this weekend, mate?
Just on a little appreciation vid for last night. It was got back at like
Nice.
12 because I couldn't get through Stratford, so that's out now. And then going to be doing a preview probably out on Saturday morning for Villa. Unfortunately, I ain't got tickets, but there we are. Can't win them all.
No, you can't, mate. You can't win them all. And Oscar, yourself over on All Leeds TV?
We're having a preview out at some point tomorrow. I don't know what time. Probably going to film it actually after this, to be fair. And put it out at some point. Yeah, and then we'll be doing the big match preview. I won't be on it tomorrow, but there will be a big match preview live on the channel tomorrow. And then Saturday, I don't know what's happening Saturday. Not sure what's happening Saturday, but Sunday will be back again with our live post-match. Every time we tried that so far, we've lost, but this time we'll win. We'll have a happy Chris this time. We'll have a happy Chris. That's the determination. But yeah, look, it's one of them. Just win the game on Saturday. Yeah, Sunday, just win it. Just win it. Yeah. I don't care how. I don't care if we have one shot in the game and Norwich have 20 and we have like none of the ball or whatever has to happen. Just win the game somehow. Honestly, just win it.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'll be doing a watch along for it. So if we're not if we are getting beat, like genuinely, I'll probably cry. I may cry. But listen, we'll be all right. From myself tomorrow, we'll have your Norwich preview after the press conference, just so we can get some injury news on Bamford, etc. And then I'll be doing a watch along on Sunday. And then, of course, Monday night, 8 p.m, we will have the Premier League review. So make sure you join us for that, and then just content throughout the week. So keep it locked at Just Joe, and thank you all for being here and have an amazing weekend. And I will see you all on Sunday. Peace out.